Welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors. Welcome to another episode of Live from Mississippi. Let me see if I can get things turned on my iPad. I already got everything plugged up charging, so we ain't got to fight with all that monkey business trying to get it working. Batteries going dead and telling us we got to get offline and all such as that. You know how all that works. All rightly. We're going to let a few people get on, get some chat going before we get started. Richard T. from North Alabama. Randall Ross, good to see you. JL327 is in the house. So we'll let a few people get on. We're getting started. Good evening, Buddy Pinkham. I'm good at butchering names, so y'all just butcher mine right along with it, and we'll all be happy as field larks. Michelle made some cups, and she was experimenting with some colors. And I have fell in love with this one. You can't tell what color it is over there because the shadow's on that side, but it's a dark, dark chocolate-looking color. And I like it. I told her, I said, when we get the fat bottom mugs going, I want mine that color. I don't know. I said, are you going to sell this cup? She said, no. I said, well, I like that one. So this is our standard coffee cup that we sell like a whole bunch of because we can pour this in a mold. Rodney Dunaway, Gina Weeks, South Mississippi. How are you tonight? All Dave, all night. Happy Friday night. I am so glad you to see me tonight, I guarantee. Y'all tell I've been watching Justin Wilson cook some here lately. Jeff, how are you? Jeffrey Bowman. Uncle Sasquatch. Yeah, Richard T., we're going to get that color on a fat bottom mug. L Square, Brenda Joe, Outdoor South from Talladega. Jared H., Butterfly Farms, Gold Mine, Georgia. Did you get the gold mine or the shaft? Anyway, Kenneth Greenhall, Bruce Mize. Cody, I ain't going to try your last name. I promise you I'm going to butcher that. 9 inches of snow in New Orleans. Woo. I can't stay locked in for 3 days. I'd had to been out in it. I'd probably been one of them folks in a ditch somewhere. The Presley girls. So glad y'all to join us tonight. You're going to be excited because we fixing to uncover beaver that I cooked last night. And we're going to make beaver basically like pulled pork sandwiches. We got the Sweet Baby Ray's. I'm going to pull it all off. I cooked it last night. Darlena, how are you? Beach Bluff, Tennessee. Ricky Johnson. Corey and Katie is here. Good deal. Y'all say that. I know you're joking, but here's the real deal with the beaver. I want to talk about this before we get started because we cooked beaver last time. I have caught them 2 beavers and I'm going to cook them. I'm not going to catch something and kill it and just throw it in the trash if I can help it. Everybody says, I ain't eating no beaver. And they don't realize that a beaver is really a very clean animal. Beavers don't eat anything but vegetables, mainly bark, some plants. Somebody told me this week that they had video of beavers eating corn. Like, they had a corn pile beside a creek, said beavers were coming up out of the creek and eating their corn. I was like, I did not know beavers would eat corn, but they said that they would eat the corn. I've not seen it, couldn't argue with it, but they eat plants, they're vegetarians. The meat, in my opinion, is somewhere between beef and deer meat. That would, if I had to describe the flavor, the texture, all about it, somewhere. Very clean animals. It's not like, you eating a nasty opossum that's been scavenging on whatever. We all eat catfish. Catfish is probably one of the nastiest as far as what it eats that we eat on a regular basis because, they eat whatever's left over floating around, Let's face it. So anyway, we're going to, what I did, just to get y'all up to speed, yesterday evening I lit the smoker. I had to clean the coals out of my fireplace in here because we've had a fire going at Ashley. Insert has been rolling this week. I burned up a good bit of wood, but we've kept a fire going. Well, them coals just get up in there and you got to dip them out at some point. So I dipped a bunch of them out and put them in the firebox out there and said, I'm going to smoke this beaver. So I put it in that aluminum pan, set it on the smoker, and I left it open, which smoke flavors the beaver itself, but it turns it dark. It's not really good for eye appeal, sort of like you do a brisket, but it'll turn it where it looks burnt, really, but it ain't. It's just smoke coated on the outside. And I left it uncovered for about an hour or so, and then I covered it up and I let it cook I let it cook 4 or 5 hours until it just went out, and I just left it on there and went to bed. And I warmed it up on the Blackstone out there, and then I brought it in here and finished. I turned the oven on and stuck it in the oven to keep it warm. So it's very hot right now. I went ahead and pulled it out. It's in this pan. And I'm going to pull the meat off, put the meat in that bowl, and then I'm going to cover it with barbecue sauce. And then, of course, like any good redneck, we didn't have no buns handy. We got loaf bread. Some of y'all would call it light bread. I don't know why, but the old timers around here, they call that light bread. But it's loaf bread, and we're going to make sandwiches out of it. So, Magnolia Mama, how are you? Martin Meltzer, Raymond Rogers. I'll skip somebody. Walter Wilson, David Russian, Billy Boatner, Thibodaux, Louisiana. Y'all got something down there y'all didn't know what was, didn't you? I seen old Bruce Mitchell with a picture out in the snow. I seen the Landry bunch had a video of them pulling an aluminum boat around the yard. Oh, that's how we do it up here. I got an old 49 model Chevrolet car hood down there in the woods I've been wanting to pull bad. It's kind of cone-shaped and rolled up. Man, it is perfect. I've saved it just for that. We've already rounded all the edges off. We put insulation in the cracks where they can't nothing cut. I've had this thing for 10, 15 years. We've been pulling it behind four-wheelers and everything else. You ain't gonna wear it out because you don't use it very often. Wesley Hayes, Danny Melton, Harold Childers, Angie Fortenberry, Crystal, Jared H. If I skip you, I don't mean to. Rhett McCory, trying to get up with y'all, so I'm fixing to get over there. There's Randy Allen. Raymond Rogers got a deer this evening. I think he made it. Randall Hayes, he had been hunting and sent me a picture. He got him a doe this evening to close the season out. They extended our season, I guess, primitive weapon until over into February, like February the 2nd, I think. I haven't looked at the details. I don't know if that's just primitive weapon or if they carrying gun season on. I just seen some posts on that. Some of y'all may know more about it on here than anybody. Albert Hayes said at Bartow, Florida, said it's cold there. Chris Bassett from Central Louisiana. DH, how are you today? Brenda Joe Greenhall, how are you? The family went to her mama's. They went over to visit. Her mama has been there alone. Michelle's dad is working out of town. He's actually up in Indiana, working 3 weeks on and home like a week. And he's just teaching some people how to run some of the machines that they shipped up there when their battery plant here closed. And they paying him fairly decent to go up there, and he had done retired, and they begged him to come back. So he went up there to do that for a little while, till over in the summer, I think, and her mama's been at home by herself, so her and Brody went over there to visit. She didn't really feel like being on camera. So anyway, let me get over here and pull some of this barbecue. We fixing to have barbecue beaver. All right, it ain't too hot to handle. I'll show y'all a little. See, it looks like it's just burnt up. But I promise you it ain't. I promise you it ain't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start pulling the meat off and putting it in this bowl over here. all these bones in this thing. Look. Beaver bone. Roscoe will be in here in a minute. He done went in there and got in the bed, Uncle Sasquatch. I know you're wondering where old Roscoe is. Roscoe done went and crawled up in the bed. He'll be in, here he comes. Here he comes. He'll want him a bite of beaver, I can guarantee you. Look at him over here. Roscoe, they can't see you, son. You're going to have to get over here where they can look at you. You hiding behind that bar. And y'all, this section of meat down in here, around the tail section, there is some fine meat right there. I'm going to tell y'all. We're going to get it all pulled off, and then we're going to mix it all up, and we're going to sauce it down with that sweet baby Ray's. Michelle has made some barbecue sauce in the past here that is really good, but I can't get her to make it on a regular basis. I drag that camera around over here where y'all can see more gooder, but I got it on the other side of the bar, and I got cords hooked to everything to keep it charged up. I just ain't even gonna fight with it. I ain't talking because I got my mind over here on what I'm doing. I'm trying to hurry up and get it done while I ain't standing way off over here the whole time. Y'all laid a pile of meat on those beaver. I can't get nobody hardly to try beaver. I've had a few people say they wanted to, but I'll tell y'all this, I haven't had anybody to try it that said, oh man, that's awful. Everybody that has eaten it has like, man, I can't believe how good that is. And it really is. Really is good. I wouldn't keep eating them if they wouldn't. Because it ain't about bragging rights. It don't impress anybody, I can promise you. It's about like eating chitlins. Either you like them or you don't, and there ain't no in between. It don't matter how anybody cooks them, either you gonna like them or you ain't. And if you don't like them, ain't nobody ever gonna cook them a way that you can eat them. I hear people, they get foolish enough and they'll tell somebody, oh, you just ain't had them the way I cook them. And that's hogwash. I love them, but if somebody don't like them, it's because of what they are. It ain't got nothing to do with what they taste like. I can promise you. You cook them 6 ways from Sunday, and they still ain't gonna like them. I don't even waste my time with all that. Trying to see, I thought there was a bone in that part. I might have should have got a bigger bowl. I got one Michelle had over there. She just recently washed in that drain. I didn't want to pull one out of that cabinet for the fact that I had to trap a rat under there, and I wanted all that stuff under there washed before I started using it. And I think she did wash it. Oh, I'm going to be honest with y'all. What I really needed to done, I really need to got a bigger bowl. I can put this barbecue sauce on and shake it good. Eat some of it here before we... I tell you what, before I get to snacking too much, I might ought to say grace. That's good. That's good. I don't care what you say. I don't think I'm going to put the barbecue sauce on all of that because I just waste a bunch of barbecue sauce trying to cut it all. Get me one of these paper rags right here. Boy, these paper towels, we bought them off-brand ones, so they'll come all to pieces in your hand. We was being stingy when we went through there trying to be tight-wadded. You know what tight-wadded is? Hey, Presley, y'all do them word deals every now and that's one you need to cover on there is tight-wadded. Somebody get a kick out of that, I can promise. All right, let me find me a bowl. Tell you what, Roscoe, I'm gonna get me a plate over here. I'm running around in here like a chicken with my head cut off. That's what I'm doing. I got a big old. There it is. That's the one I want. Big southern mud pottery plate. I need one big enough I could spread my stuff around on. All right, I got everything I need, I believe. Find me a rag that I can use right here. Something that won't come all to pieces on me. All right, y'all. Uncle Sasquatch said you smelled them cooking one time, thought you'd pass. That's usually what does it for most folks. I mean, that's just the honest to God truth. For whatever reason, smells I'm odd on. There's a few things that I can't stand the way it smells, but chitlins don't bother me. I can go down the road and run by a skunk. And, I mean, if it ain't just like right there on me, it don't really bother me. But now I'll tell y'all one of the worst things you can smell around here in our part of the country, and that's them egg-laying chicken houses. I don't know what it is about them. Though what we call a broiler house, it just raises chickens for 6 weeks, and then they sell all of them. They get rough at times, but for the most part, I mean, they strong, but they not just, but they something about the smell of them egg-laying houses. Oh, God, I can't deal with that. I just can't deal with it, y'all. I don't like it, not none. All right, we got that sweet baby Ray's over. Roscoe, I promise you, son, I'm going to fix you up. He's over here and do word to death that I ain't going to give him a bite of nothing. Him. And then that little old dog Lucky's over there bigging too. All right, give me my. I'm gonna churn this up in there, and then I'm gonna put it on me. I'm gonna have that everywhere. That big old piece there, that was part of that crust. I ain't gonna be able to break it up, I can guarantee you. And it caught all the barbecue sauce. I'll have me a mess all over my fingers, just sure as the world. Let me move this giant bottle out of the way where y'all can see what we're cooking with there. Turn that around, get some advertisement for Sweet Baby Ray's. I promise you they ain't gonna pay me nothing. I don't even really like Sweet Baby Ray's. It was all we had though. My wife loves it. I got some picking and grilling out there. That's what I should have got. And I put, for those of you local around here, I seasoned this beaver with banjo dust. Scotty Chun special, picking and grilling's banjo dust is what I seasoned this joker with out there. And I'm talking about I coated it good. I put might near a half a bottle on it. We fixing to have us some fine eating here. I'm telling you the truth. Get me a sandwich made. Right here like this out of some light bread, I called it. There, get that big wad on there. I'm trying to keep from getting it all over my fingers. I probably ain't being real successful. All right, let's do this right here. I can't never remember the words to this. Look at him. Y'all can't see that either, can you? I'll have to read it off to myself. You can pause that and rewind it and watch. Thank you, Lord, for the woods and the creek. Thank you, Lord, for the food we eat. Thank you, Lord, for the fish that swim. Thank you, Lord, for all of them. Thank you, Lord, for the plants that grow. Thank you, Lord, for the white-tailed doe. Thank you, Lord, for the birds that sing. Thank you, Lord, for everything. Amen. That, for those of you that are new, most of you have heard me say that. That is the woodsman's prayer. My dad come up with that from somewhere a long, long time ago. We've all added a few lines to it. Mr. C.J. Gaucher made this, or had it made and sent to me. I no telling what it probably cost him to have it made, but I'm holding it at an angle so that you can see it. And I'm going to try to get this put on a shirt or something. I was supposed to have done that, and I've just been overwhelmed with knife orders. Y'all, let me show y'all something before I get off started. The Lord has been good to this old country boy. I got a whole page of names right there. This is to be made, and I done started on another page right there. That is knife orders. I'm telling you the truth. I should have put a little bit more barbecue sauce on that. Miss Brenda Joe, I didn't get a haircut. I cut my hair. I ain't paid for a haircut in 25 years. And I ain't kidding either. I ain't paying somebody to do something I can do myself. Just goes against my upbringing. DH said MDWFP voted for either sex Sunday, February the 2nd. This extension applies to private land only in the Delta, Hills, and North Central deer management units. Jeff, if you didn't tell somebody what this was, they'd never know it was beaver with this barbecue sauce on it. Now, I can cook it in a certain way that I can tell it's beaver. Beaver sort of has a unique taste, but it's not overpowering. Me knowing what it is, I can taste the beaver taste in it. I'm sure some folks could, but if you had never eaten beaver before, you'd just say this has a little unique flavor, but you would think it was pulled pork or whatever else. And I promise y'all, I'm not like pretending that it's good just to tell you that. It really is. And I think if everybody else knew that it was good, they wouldn't be as many of them thrown away. These trappers would be bringing way more of them home than they... But now I will say this, it's like anything else. Some folks don't like chicken. You know, some folks don't like pork. So everybody ain't gonna like it regardless of whether it's fit to eat or not. You know, I mean, that just goes without saying. Put me some more barbecue sauce on it. And my reason, I'm gonna tell y'all why I put barbecue sauce on it. Ain't for the flavor. I don't like old dry meat. That's one of the reasons I'm not no big fan of turkey. I get a lot of people ask, you turkey hunt? I love to turkey hunt. I don't care nothing about turkey. Now, fried turkey nuggets, cut small, deep fried with battered, is very good. But just in general, turkey, like Thanksgiving turkey, I'm not a fan of it. That was that outside, it was on the bottom, kind of tough right there. Suzanne from South Australia. See, when you tell me it's 36 Celsius, I have to count off to figure out what that is. and tripe, that's going to be chitlins over there, right? I think that's right. I think I've heard that before. Oh, Frank B, that paper mill, it smells like rutabagas. I still can't eat rutabagas. No, sir. Paper mill smells like rutabagas. Y'all eat rutabagas? Somebody tell me, how many of y'all eat rutabagas? I don't eat them for the way they smell. Roscoe's over here like, Daddy, you ain't gonna feed me there another bite? Yeah. Oh yeah, he like that. I need to get Roscoe a big old chair up here where he can sit up here and see. Oh. What the? I've been in something hard. Piece of bone. I thought I'd done bit into a 22 bullet. You can't never tell. I've been eating doves or squirrels and bite into, man, you bite there, break your teeth when them chunks of lead be off in it. Michael Edwards, I do love chitlins, and I got 2 buckets of them out there, and I threatened cooking them today. But I had this, and I said I'm going to eat this. In fact, I may cook them tomorrow. I really might cook one. I got 2 buckets, and I'll tell you why I've got 2 buckets of chitlins. I went in the grocery store back in the spring, and I thought, you know, I like some chitlins. They were $45 for a bucket of chitlins. We've been paying $10 for them. I said, no sirree, Bob, I ain't gonna do it. So all summer, we ain't had no chitlin cooking. You know, I don't eat them a lot, but I genuinely like them. Well, somebody, old J.R. Willis, texted me one day. He said, man, they got them chitlins on sale down there at the Viral supermarket. He said they're $12 a bucket. And I said, do what, huh? And I wound up by so excited, I bought 2 buckets. And I'm fixing to lay off into them. Randy Beeson's at Hunting Camp in Tallahassee. Still snow everywhere. They say them deer down there is acting stupid in that snow. Y'all just shooting them left and right, ain't you? I heard they was running around everywhere down there from some folks. Mike Culpepper said people that work in that paper mill say it smells like money. I've heard some chicken farmers say that too till they sold them. Then they told the truth. All right, let's make one more of these sandwiches. Fat boy got to eat now. I ain't gonna lie. I got me enough barbecue sauce on there now. Ooh. Hey, y'all, I'll tell y'all one thing about this weather. You can put that meat out there in the cooler and you ain't even got to change your ice on it. You go out there, it's partially froze. I finally got all my deer meat put up this week. It took me, I have been humping it this week to get everything done. I've been slow on knife orders because I had to get all that deer put up this week. And y'all see there's a dish pan right over here. I'll show y'all, sitting over yonder. It's got 8 quarts. I canned them the other night, and they still sitting right there. I ain't went and put them. I'll tell you what, I was half scared to put them back there in that pantry. I mean, in that laundry room. Michelle hung a quilt up over the door back there to keep the heat in here for this week. And it's so cold in there, I got afraid they'd freeze and bust. Nothing in there has froze, but I said, man, I got a lot of work in that deer. I don't want them in there froze, busted. Danny Melton, is everybody up there, is they people still living in tents in North Carolina? I have seen a little, I hadn't been able to watch a whole lot of YouTube stuff recently. I've been trying to get caught up with everything, and I'm about caught up finally. Not with knife orders, but with just life in general. I'm about up to where I'm supposed to be, in other words. But what kind of shape is them? Are they still folks that's really living in tents in this cold? I feel sorry for them. I really do. You know, I ain't never heard of making chitlins out of venison. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you can cook anything. But I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody actually doing it. Cody, I heard a buddy of mine, he said, right now would be the perfect time to be throwing jug lines out in the Tom Bigby River up there. He said them catfish would just tear them up. And I said, you know, when I got a pile of deer liver I have saved, me and Brody gonna go out them here for long. I had never ate the nutria. Jeff Busby, I am eating beaver. Tell them grand young'uns it's fine cuisine. It really is good. But if somebody don't want to eat it, I ain't gonna try to make them eat it. I mean, it don't help me none to get somebody else to eat it. It's just more for me if they don't want to eat it. Mike Reeves, let me tell you a story about that dip bait I ordered. I ordered it back before Christmas. Never did come in. So to hear about a week or two ago, I got on Amazon where I ordered it. And it's in that little old tub about yay big around. And I think it's 32 ounces, something like that. And I got the extra stiff. Never did show up. So I reported it and I was like, hey, it's lost in shipment. I ain't never got it. So they refunded. They asked if I wanted a refund. I said, no, I want you to resend it. I want my dip bait. Well, it come about 2 days ago. I got a notification today the other bucket is down there in the mailbox. Showed up today. I ain't had time to go down there and check it. So now I got 2 buckets of it. And they said, we're going to charge you for it if you don't send it back. I said, just charge me for it. It'll get used. I think it was about $20 a bucket. But I'm fixing to give some catfish fits with it. I can tell you that right now. You know, Mike Culpepper, that right there pot, it probably would make a good gumbo, wouldn't it? I could make a fine gumbo out of that, and nobody know the difference, would they? They better be glad that Sunday they ain't having no dinner on the ground at the church. I'd carry that and tell them it was beef. No, I wouldn't tell them it's beef. I'd just say, yeah, y'all try this pulled meat, you know. 200 children misplaced in North Carolina. Man, y'all, that breaks my heart. I ain't gonna lie. It's cold to be living in a tent. Man. That really does. That breaks my heart. And y'all, I can't keep up whatever come in. I'm sorry. I try to. If I miss your comment and you really want me to read it, put it back on there. I don't mind. I don't overlook stuff on purpose. John Thomas, I ain't gonna lie to him, especially at the church. It's tempting, you know, to just see how they react. But I tell you what they did. They had soup night last week. I didn't go to church morning or evening because Brody was sick under the weather. And I stayed home with Brody. We was going to take turns and me go one service and her go one service. Well, she had to teach Sunday school that morning, so I had to stay here with him. Well, they had a soup cooking that night, and she's the head of the ladies department, so she had to be there for that. So I missed both services Sunday. Well, she made a chili and took it. We made it out of deer meat. One of our friends was there, and she was eating it, and boy, talking about how good it was, and her husband got to laughing. She said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Is that good?" And she stopped and pushed the plate back. She said, "What is it?" He said, "That's deer meat." She said, "No, it ain't." He said, "Yeah, it is." He said, "You was just talking about how good it was." She said, "Yeah, but I ain't eating it now." She don't like to eat deer meat. We'd ground up all that deer meat, so Michelle made taco soup out of it. Man, it was fine. We eat all of it. What she brought back home. That's why you can't go to a potluck where your feelings on your shoulder are scared to eat stuff, because you don't ever know what they're eating. What I worry about is them letting them old cats lick a spoon while they cooking. I can't. If I know they got a cat, I don't eat their food regardless of what. I know how them cats are. We had one in the house one time. I said, we won't never have another cat in the house. I'm for everything but cats in the house. Darlene, I like my chitlins boiled. I do not like fried chitlins. I don't know why, but I don't. What y'all talking about Doug again? I bet old Doug's watching, wishing he could comment. He probably torqued up about something. I done about decided there's some folks in life that they just look for something to gripe about, and if they can't find something, they'll make something up and gripe about it. That piece of was mighty tough. Roscoe, you eat that. Chili and chitlins, beaver. Yeah, there you go. Bailey, was they froze when you got them up to the top of the water? Well, I got some sweet tea in this glass here. Well. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm about full. I better twist the top back on this light bread. Roscoe, I'm on him. I don't know about throwing that in the floor, son, because if you don't happen to lick your floor clean, I'll have that smeared everywhere tracking it around. I didn't let him lick my finger. I know some of y'all saw that. I let go of it when he gets up there close. I love him, but I don't love him that much. I don't want no dog licking my fingers, and I don't want him licking me in the face. That Roxanne out there, she's the world's worst. She'll get up in your lap wanting you to pet her, and she'll ease towards your head, and if you ain't paying attention, get your mind on something else, she'll sneak up there and then go like that and try to lick you in the face. Now, boy, it burns me to no end. I don't like to be licked by no dog. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right, I'm going to set this out of the way. I'm done eating. Roscoe, we're going to take a break, son. I wish I could find a lid for this. Fortunately, we ain't got no flies right now. I'm going to set this out of the way, though. I'll tell you what I can do. Cover it up right now with this piece of tinfoil I had, because the rest of that, I'll have to do something. Look how black it is. I'll put something else in a minute. When Michelle gets home, she'll find the lid to that. Clean my mess up so I don't get fussed at in here. Y'all look at him. There's that deer meat we canned. I had folks back when I first started canning deer meat, come unhinged about the way I was a canning. I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't going to seal, it wasn't going to last. But the joke's on them because I've been eating deer meat out of that canned stuff. If you can that deer meat, and I talked to Mr. Dennis Pritchard the other day, and he said they canned, I don't know how much, he said I think they canned about all their deer meat this year. And if you like beef tips and rice and stuff like that, man, that's the way to go. Want to make a quick soup? You can pour that in your pot, then you ain't got to cook it meat a half a day to get it, to where you want it. So I think it's a way to go. All right, I done about had enough tea. I'm gonna drink my coffee. I bet it's done got cold. Fellerettes. Where is old Tommy Litchfield? It ain't quite time for him tonight, is it? Jeff said he broke up with a girl one time because a cat got on the counter. Oh, Lord, I know a boy over here, he divorced a woman because she had some kids and they had the hair got in the sink. He was one of them clean freaks. He didn't want to have to clean her hair out of the sink drain. He divorced her over that. Oh, that's the truth. That's a fact. My hand up. I'm telling you. Well. Talking about a fact with your hand up. I listened to something today. I had to look and look for it. We talked about old Wendy Bagwell. Well, old Wendy Bagwell has got his albums is on iTunes. But the Volkswagen tale is not on there. I do not know why. Every one of his jokes is on there, except the Volkswagen story. And I dug around and I finally found the Volkswagen tale. And I listened to that today. And I'm telling you, they ain't much funnier than old Wendy Bagwell telling about him and Ralph Bennett and D.A. going to Smyrna, leaving Smyrna, Georgia, and going to the coast. I don't know right where they went to get the first little old Volkswagen car they brought over here. He said old Ralph was worried about the high price of gas before gas ever got high. Jimmy Sullivan. Well, anyway, talking about Ralph Bennett decided to buy him a Volkswagen. He had to call down there to Georgia, said they ship them over here on the ocean. And he said they're going to have to go all the way down there to get it. He said because they didn't have no ocean in Smyrna, Georgia. So he paid a deposit on that little thing and said they called him to come get it. So he said they went and got on a Greyhound bus and went all the way down there. He said took them all night and most of the next day to get there on that Greyhound bus. And he said that was back before they was 4-lane highways. He said the little bumpy road had potholes all in it. He said they rode all night and part of the next day to get to where that Volkswagen was. And he said they didn't get off that bus. He said not for nothing. He said partially, because they were scared they'd get left somewhere. He said, but the next thing, he said they all had them a seat by the window. And they were scared they'd lose it. He said, so they didn't get off not for nothing. He said, now there's a time or two we might not died. He said, so they finally got there and they got to the ocean, went out there to get that little Volkswagen car. And he said, when they first started shipping them things over here, he said, they didn't have no words in none of them knobs. And he said that fellow come up there and asked him, he said, now, after Ralph paid him for it, he said, you want me to show you anything about it? Well, it kind of halfway insulted old Ralph. He said he had a high school education. Said he had went all the way through high school and said he was the smartest fella he knew. And he said he didn't want nobody telling him nothing. So he told him, he said, man, said there ain't nothing that I can't drive. It's got 4 wheels on it. The fellow said, all right. Said, it's yours. He said, they fumbled around there and said, finally, old Ralph got that thing in first gear and they cut out. He said, and they wouldn't, said some of them knobs had pictures on them, but he said me and Ralph and D.A. didn't know what them pictures was. But he said, I decided, he said, said when they first brought them things over here, said they didn't even have a gas gauge in them. He said, and I told old Ralph, he said, now we might ought to stop and fill this thing up with gas. He said, we don't know how much is in it. He said, yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea. So, said they was looking for a filling station, but said I told Ralph, he said, now look, he said, I ain't ate nothing since yesterday. He said, we're going to have to stop and get us something to eat. Said, I'm about to starve to death. So they wheeled in, they pulled up to this little old joint on the side of the road, and said they pulled right up to the curb, went in and got them a weenie. He said they come out, eat, got in that thing, and he said old Ralph started hunting reverse in that little old Volkswagen. He said he hunted reverse. He said, I ain't never seen nobody hunt anything any harder than old Ralph Bennett hunted reverse in that Volkswagen. He said he'd shove it up in a gear and said in a minute he'd say, all right, I think I got it now. He said, back up on that curb we'd go. He said he done about half aggravated. He said we finally got out and pushed that little old car backwards. He said, didn't even look like we could all fit in it. He said, we pushed it backwards and headed down the road and said, we found a filling station down there. Said, we pulled up to the filling station, said that guy was standing there and he said, what can I do for you? He said, oh, Ralph hollered out the window. He said, fill her up. Said that guy said, you pulled up too far. Said, back up. He said, old Ralph stuck his head out the window and said, I'll be right back. He said, we took off, went out there and hit the highway, circled around. He said, and there stood that fella with his hose in his hand. Said he was looking at us like we was a bunch of idiots. He said, we circled around, come back up there, pulled back up, and said, Ralph hollered, said, now fill her up. He said, I told Ralph, said, now look, said, when we left Smyrna, Georgia, said, it was cold there. He said, we might ought to check that antifreeze in this thing before we get there. Said, I don't know what they checked. So, said, old Ralph stuck his head out the window and said, will you check that antifreeze? He said in a minute, said that fella finished filling it up with gas. Said he walked up there and said he popped the hood. Said he looked around. He said, there ain't even no motor up here. He said, old Ralph got out, said, we finally found the motor. Said, we still ain't found that radiator. He said, we hunted everywhere for that radiator. He said, by this point, he said, me and D.A. was laying on the ground, beating our fists. Said, we ain't never laughed so hard in all our lives. Said old Ralph was getting madder by the minute. He said, so we got that thing, got in it and headed down the road. And he said, old Ralph said he was about mad. Said he wouldn't hardly say nothing. Said we was going down the road. Said, man, it was getting colder and colder and colder. Said we was about to freeze to death. And he said, I hated to say anything because I'd knowed how Ralph was. He said, but finally, he said, look, he said, we're going to have to start seeing if we can figure out which one of these knobs is a heater. He said, me and D.A. is about to freeze to death. He said, we started looking at knobs and looking at stuff. Said, we couldn't make out what none of them little old pictures was. He said, and that little old knob there right by my feet, he said, between the seats, he said, and I started to turn it and said, old Ralph said, hold it. Said, don't turn that knob. I said, why? He said, the bottom liable to fall out. he said, we drove to the house, said we was froze from our nose to our toes. Said we finally got to the house and pulled that thing up under the carport. Said we got out, said old Ralph's wife come up there and said, oh, said take me for a ride, take me riding in that little old car. Old Ralph mumbled something about being cold. We went on in the house. Said she went out there. Said for about 2 minutes she fumbled around in that thing, cranked it up, backed it out of the driveway. Said she'd come back in a little bit and come in the house and said that little old heater will run you out of there, won't it? Oh, Lord. So for y'all that had never heard the Volkswagen story by old Wendy Bagwell, that is a golden one. And he can tell it a whole lot better than I can. Jamie Johnson, we was eating pulled beaver. Les Weatherly Roscoe is doing a whole lot better. The other night we was laying in the recliner. We was up under that blanket or that quilt that Miss Mary had sent me. That's how our chair blanket, we'd sprawl out in front of this fire and reach over there and hang that lever and pull it back into sleep mode. And Roscoe got up, was going to turn around, and man, he yelped out. And I don't know what it was, but it's something in his back hip or something back there. They didn't see anything broke, but that was the only deal. Other than that, he's doing all right. Last night, he brought his little old toy to us, and I throwed it back and forth across the living room, and he wanted to go get it. So I know he's getting better. Hopefully we'll get to go take him squirrel hunting here for long. But y'all talking about squirrel hunting, I ain't hardly seeing no squirrels. I went down there and filmed that video this morning building a fire. I ain't see a squirrel nowhere. Now, I did shoot one yesterday evening right back here in these pine trees. Of course, I wasn't filming nothing. And I just happened to see it, and I could see it in that scope, and I popped it in the head. And you believe that thing hung up in that tree? I took that little CZ 457 and I had to cut his arm in two to get him out of the tree. But I was able to do it. Laser Addict, good to see you. Oh, and Pat and I have never eaten a robin gumbo, but I have heard robins are very good. I also heard it was very illegal to shoot them also. We don't talk about that much. But I have heard they was good. I don't know nothing about it. I have personally never eaten them, but I've got some personal friends that told me and said, I've eaten them and they're good. I can't say who that was. Uncle Sasquatch, I'm hoping that next week, when this weather warms up, it's actually supposed to start warming up tomorrow here. And then we got rain coming in Sunday, and it's going to be rain all week from the looks of the forecast, but it's going to be up in the 70s by the end of next week. Hopefully the squirrels will be back out. And if it's raining, that makes the ground wet. You can slip around good. I might be able to go get me some squirrels. We'll just have to see how it all works out. But if the river starts rising, I may go start putting limb hooks out. Hey, you don't ever know about me. I'm ready to start fishing. I'd heat rather fish than I had to hunt, truth be told. Gonna be at 50 there tomorrow. Yeah, I think we pushing 53 is what the forecast said. And of course, I don't have no idea. Jeff Busby, I filmed today, drove a blackbirds. They was right out here in the backyard, and I started to get me a couple of them, but I didn't really have time to fool with them. I was bad needing to get some knives finished. I've got a couple I've been working on all week. I've been dragging around, laying in here by the heater to about 9:30, 10 o'clock before I go out there and try to go to work. And then I've been shutting down at about 4:30 and coming in before it gets cold. We've had prayer meeting all week because we're doing a week of consecration. So I hadn't worked hard this week, and then I've spent more time feeding the stove out there than I did working on knives, I think. Yeah, Reed Mitchell, y'all, it's going to be a little while before y'all warm up there, I can tell you. Yeah, David Russian, I love running limb lines is probably one of my favorite things to do, honestly. I love running limb lines. Now, I like crappie fishing, but probably my absolute favorite, well, is going to be grinnell fishing. Behind that is going to be running limb lines. There's just something about when you come around a bend and you got a limb tied to a limb line tied to a bush over there, and you see that bush doing like that, man, it excites me. I'm ready to see what's on it. Larry Alexander. Charles Lucas from Missouri said, meat looks good. It was good. It was good. Delicious. Jimmy Sullivan, you tell me when you're ready to go. We'll load up in that boat and go get them. I've got the limb hooks ready to go. All I got to do is hook to the boat and let's go. I can get a bag of that deer liver right now is what I'm going to start baiting with. until I can get crawfish, and I need to start going ahead and putting some bait baskets out, I guess, and see if I can start locating some minnows. I'm going to try a couple of different tactics this year and some different stuff on trying to collect bait. I'm thinking about doing a few things a little bit different this year. Some things I'll do exactly the same, but getting bait here is always a challenge. But I did hear that Mufu's is going to be opening back up. John Bright, how are you, bud? Oh, I've not made enough limb lining videos. Of course, you know, limb lining is how Jonah got his name. I've had some people ask me here recently, because we got a whole bunch of new people, y'all. This is Jonah, okay? This is my personal knife. I've made a whole bunch of duplicates, and we named the design Jonah now. So the way Jonah got his name is from me limb lining. We was in the canoe, had Brody sitting on a milk crate in there, and we paddling that water swift, and I'm baiting with deer liver. So I got my knife, and I got my paddle laid across the canoe in front of me, and I got the knife laying on there and deer liver right in front of me, and I'm cutting that deer liver up and putting it on hooks. Well, when I would cut it up, I would go ahead and cut 5 or 6 pieces up and lay it in the bottom of the canoe where I didn't have to do that at every limb. Well, the canoe started drifting around toward that hook that was over there, and Brody was on that milk crate. Of course, he wasn't but 3 years old at the time. And I grabbed that paddle and went to paddling away from it. When I grabbed that paddle, that knife said bloop right off in the water. I hunted this knife for 3 days I had a speaker tied to a piece of paracord. Bounced it around. Every time I'd go run them limb lines, I'd hunt my knife. That third day, it said clink. I heard it when it clicked to the magnet, and I pulled it up, and y'all, it was in nothing wrong with this knife. It had a little bit of rust on it after I got back to the house, but it had been submerged, so it didn't really rust in the water. It started rusting after I got out and was headed back. And so I named, when I pulled it up, I had the camera on, and I was like, well, it's been 3 days in the belly of the deep, so I'm going to name it Jonah. I just kind of said that as a joke, but we really named it Jonah. And the scales stayed on it. I mean, that sycamore wood held up. It is oiled with boiled linseed oil. The metal held up. The scales didn't come off. So it proved to everybody else that, hey, it's just a good knife. It's, you know, it didn't fall all to pieces after being in the water for 3 days soaking. So after that, then this year, obviously, we lost it at the deer camp for 3 weeks. And I found it, and it rained on it twice. I'm talking about heavy rains. So right now, if you rub across the back of that spine on the handle, you can feel that blade. It's a 32nd of an inch, probably sticking up past the wood where it swelled, or where the wood shrunk. Obviously, the metal didn't swell. The wood shrunk. But you can feel it. And I started to dress all that up and clean. I was like, no, that's part of the story of this knife. And I was gonna retire it after I found it at the deer camp. And then I backed out and I said, no, this knife deserves to be on my side. You know, if I lose it one day, it's gonna break my heart, but I mean, now me and this knife is a part of each other. It launched my knife making business. It is the reason that I'm able to sell these knives, and it just deserves to keep being used. So maybe the good Lord will take care of it and protect it and keep it with me always. And if I lose it, he'll send it, let me find it, because he has so far. So thank you, Jesus. I still got my knife. I just wanted to share that story because I've had several people ask me why I named it Jonah. So maybe they'll see that video. Cindy A. Bear, how are you? I agree, Cindy. I like fishing. There's something to me about grinnell fishing, bowfin, and I like fishing for them with plastic baits because I'm working that bait. I like to be doing something. I'm not one of these guys that likes to just sit back and fold my arms and just sit there. I have to make myself do that deer hunting this year. I mean, I read books I am halfway through. Well, no, I ain't near about halfway through that. A Land Remembered. I don't even know which one of y'all remember who sent me that book. Somebody sent me A Land Remembered. I am reading it now. That is a very good book. Very interesting. I read the first book that Martin Meltzer sent me of Hantayo. There's 3 more books in it. I'm going to finish them, but I wanted to read this book next. Take a break. So, it's the fishing. I like to catch grinnell because I'm doing something. And that's why I like to fish plastic baits. Otherwise, taking cut bait and throwing it out there, that's the way to catch. If you want to really target grinnell, that's the way to get them. But now I have fished a couple of spots at doing that, and I don't know. Last year I struggled some catching them. So I don't know what the deal was. Jimmy Sullivan, I got to build you a phone case at some point. I tell you what, dude, bring me your phone and leave it over here for a few days. I'll make a case. Oh, Lord. I've probably got over 100 knives. Dave, no, I ain't been to check on the Bronco. I need to. I ain't got the money to get it right now. I had to buy something else this week, so I didn't want to go over there and spend my money on it. But anyway, what was I finna say? The knives. I've probably made over 100 and something so far. And I ain't had but one person that was halfway dissatisfied, and they really wasn't dissatisfied with the knife. They just wanted to find something to gripe about, I think. So I, let them gripe. It's all right with me. I like to fuss too about something. But so far, all the knives that's out there, going back to what Uncle Sasquatch says, talking about their good knives, is I've asked several people, look, if they won't hold an edge, somebody tell me, because I know I'm kind of biased to stuff. It's my knife. I'm going, well, it's a good knife. That's kind of natural. I want somebody to tell me, hey, that thing, mine won't stay sharp, or mine, But I hadn't had anybody, and I've got people that's skinning hogs with them, they've skinned deer. I got pictures today of people cutting up meat with them. People skinning deer with them. I get pictures pretty regular of people using their knives. So far, everybody loves them. I'm going to tell you what I think it is. It ain't so much the steel in the knife as it is the design. I like a big Bowie knife. I like big old knives that I can chop with, and they look good. But this is the most practical design, and the way that handle is designed, it don't slip out of your hand. Even when it gets wet and covered with blood, the shape of it is bigger at the back, so it ain't trying to slip out of your hand. And I put this finger groove up there where your hand ain't trying to slide down the blade if you have to poke something. I don't do much poking at anything with it. I try to use mine practically, but if you do, it ain't like you're going to slide up it and cut your finger all up. It just has a good feel. Now, every one of them feels a little different. Sometimes them scales come out a little thinner because I hand shape everything, and it's all by eyeball. There ain't nothing like measured and precise. It's just, hey, I just went at it, But I hadn't had any complaints really and truly on the knives, so. Jared, thank you. B-Heck, I don't really have a place to order that print of that prayer. I am going to try to make that available and get it on the Etsy store. To get one similar to this, from what I can find out, would cost you probably around $70. Time they print this and frame it in that wood and such as that. Mr. C.J. Gaucher had this one made and sent it to me. And he sent me a link. I want to think he had someone local to him make it. But if you print those words out, you can probably send that to anybody online and have one made. There's several companies, printing type companies that make signs that they could have that made for you. I'll try to get it on a shirt. I do. I want a shirt with that on there. I want a shirt with the best way to do things is the way you like to do them printed on the back that's got the logo on the front. So at some point here in the near future, I'm going to work on a couple of new t-shirts, just adding this to the back of really shirts I already have, just because I would like to have that saying on the back of one. And so far, all the shirts are made through Printify. I don't think they'll make a sign like that. I haven't seen anything on their site. And they add stuff and take stuff off regularly. I'll have to check and see what options they have. And Laser Addict, M4 Laser Works, you see him commenting, he can engrave that into like a cutting board or whatever else. So he's got the means of doing it as well if you want to go that route. And I'm sure he can probably laser it on about anything you want it put on, if the truth's told, for a small, phenomenal fee, of course. He said for about $80, he can engrave that into a cutting board about that size. So get up with him. Look at M4 Laser Works. He's got a website. He's also on Facebook. And I have seen, you can get on Facebook, see somewhere I seen a shotgun that looked good the other day. He had, Michael English, we just got through eating. In fact, that bowl right there is full of beaver that we caught last week. We grilled it last night, or smoked it last night, made pulled pork out of it, or, well, pulled beaver, and had us 2 sandwiches right now tonight. So, yeah, we've been doing some beaver trapping. I hadn't filmed no just whole pile of it. Larry Hermes, get on the Etsy store and you get you a t-shirt. I've got a link in every video. If I use stuff in my videos that stands out, like the little lighter sleeve I had today, I linked it in there. Most everything is on the Amazon store. And all that is, hey, I just gathered up stuff that I use and I have a link to where you can find it. I don't make it, sell it. It don't send it to me. I had one guy, he thought that all that Amazon store was a whole bunch of stuff you could buy that would be shipped to me. I don't know. His off his rocker, I think. But anyway, I get a small commission if you order it through the link. Like if you're going to buy something and you order it through my link on my videos, I get like a couple of pennies off of it if you want to know the truth. But in every video, I've got a list of links, and it's got to the Etsy store, to the Amazon store, to Southern Mud Pottery, and something else on there. But on the Etsy store will take you to where all the t-shirts, merchandise, signs, everything is. So if you want to buy Spirit of the Outdoors merchandise, what it does is you get on that Etsy store and buy it. It orders it from Printify. Printify ships it directly to you. Out of my checking account, pays for the order. They print it, and then Etsy turns around and pays me back, and I profit about $4 off of a t-shirt. So if y'all wondering how that works, that's how that works. So, Mr. Tommy Litchfield, howdy. Howdy you are. Come on. Yeah, Larry, best way to do things at the Etsy store. I was actually ordering shirts here local, having them printed, and then mailing them myself. I was making about $10 off of a shirt, but I couldn't get the people here to print my shirts. It took them like 3 months to get my shirts done, and I was like, that's it. I ain't doing that. And then not to mention I was having to handle everything, and I didn't have every color, every size. I didn't have enough options. It's a whole lot better just doing it like this so you can order whatever. So anyway. Nancy Pierce. We had pulled beaver and it was fine. I'm finna fill up my coffee cup. Y'all sit there and talk about it. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, y'all, I'm going to be honest with you about the cold weather. I have enjoyed it. It's been a nice break from the heat. Larry, there should be some long sleeves on there. In fact, if you look at Uncle Sasquatch's video today, I believe he was wearing one. But the cold, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm ready for it to warm up a little bit, and I'll tell you exactly why. It's give my chickens fits. I have lost a couple of roosters this week, which I was fine with. One of them was a rooster that he's been sick acting for 6 months. Something's been wrong with him, and I was expecting him to go really. I moved all of them out of those cages down there in the woods and put them all in pens up here that was bigger, covered, with blocked out of the wind. I mean, it wasn't like I neglected them. But I don't know, it got so cold, some of them, they just didn't make it. And, but the biggest thing I've been struggling with is watering them. I've had to go every day and bust up ice, and melt it and pour it on top of the ice that they got just so they'd have some water to drink. I'm tired of fighting the ice buckets in the chicken. It made me want to get rid of every chicken out there. As far as me feeling cold, I've been fine, but I'm tired of fighting it with the chickens. I'm fixing to thin out some chickens, I can tell you right now. I done got rid of several. Tommy, I can't believe it snowed on the Gulf Coast beach down there, and then I didn't get none. I mean, did you get any snow, Tommy? It must have flurried down there where you was at a little bit, because, I mean, we barely was right out of it according to the radar. We didn't even get no flurries here. Greens is dead, Randall Hayes. All of them turnip greens all look like this right now. Now, the collards and the cabbage, I think, may pull through. Look, the collards actually looked all right today. I'll keep an eye on it, but... Well, Chris Bassett, I've had a pile of people tell me to get a crock pot, but here's the deal. I got 13 different pens with chickens in there. You can't put a whole bunch of game chickens in one pen and put a crock pot in there. I'd have to have 13 crock pots, and I just ain't doing it. I ain't running extension cords all out there for them. They're going to have to fend for themselves. Now, if it stayed froze here from end of November to April, yeah, I'd have crock pots everywhere out there for it, ain't no doubt, because ain't no way I'd do what I've been doing this week for 3 or 4 months. But for a week out of the year, it ain't worth all that. Because I'll tell you what had happened. They'd short it out and burn something down out there. I can tell you about them chickens. But I am fixing to go turn some lights on that big pen. I'm finna get some lights set up on a timer, make them start laying eggs. I have held off and let them have their break. But it's time to turn some lights on them and get some eggs started coming in. We've been having to buy eggs, and y'all, man, eggs is nearly $7 a dozen or so. I ain't gonna do it. I just do without eggs. The only problem is I like some of that bread. She's had the bread machine going over here, and she made Brody a pizza. She made the pizza crust in a bread oven. Jeff Busby, get you some timers and add to the daylight. They'll start laying. If you extend the daylight in their life, make them lights come on at 5:30 in the morning, and then cut them off about 7 o'clock. Make them come back on about 5 and stay on to about 8:30. You'll start getting eggs again. Yeah, David Russian, I've still got the black line. In fact, I lost one rooster 2 weeks ago, and it was the the black rooster that was in with the Mac Rays. And what happened is he tore a hole and got in there with that half I am Samani and half gray rooster that's black skinned. And that black rooster might have whooped his in there, because when I found him, it was too late to save him. He was still alive, but I had been gone and come in, and they had tore a hole in that wire and got together and got to fighting, and he bit off more than he could choose what he done. So I don't have him no more, but I got the part I am Samani, and I took him and just put him in with the black hens, and I'm going to let them raise in there this year, and we'll see what we get, folks. I have raised 2 chickens off of that black rooster, and both of them has died. I can't keep it. So this year he's gonna have more, and we'll see. Jeff asked, "What does chitlins taste like?" I can't answer that. I ain't gonna lie. I really can't. Not that I don't want to. I don't know how. They taste like chitlins. That's all I can tell you. If you can get past the smell, you can eat them. Richard said he's got some lights, some solar-powered lights from Harbor Freight, but it's not helping the chickens much. Crushed red pepper will help. Yes, I've seen red pepper help. Tommy said they taste like hog guts. Oh, you wouldn't be wrong. To me, Nancy, they don't smell that bad, but everybody has a different opinion. To me, a skunk don't smell that bad either. That's why I can skin one. Don't bother me. Some folks don't want to be within 10 miles of us. So, everybody's going to have a whole different attitude towards stuff. They don't just smell wonderful cooking, I'll tell you that. Larry said they don't taste like nothing if you don't eat them. Brenda said, I baked some crappie with lemon pepper. It was good. Not as good as fried, but real good. My deal is I get tired of fried fish because here in the South, we fry everything. And I love fried fish, don't get me wrong, but after a while, you get burnt out on it. And I'm going to tell y'all what is good. And as you get that Blackstone fired up and put you some olive oil on that thing, and you cook that crappie, saute it or whatever, and then get you some cabbage, cut it up, and make you some fish tacos. Ooh, them crappie make some good fish tacos. You ain't lived. If you like fish tacos and cabbage, hey, that's good eating right there. That's as good as a slaw burger ever thought about being. And you know what? If I'd have had some coleslaw, it'd have been on top of that beaver burger. I bet that would have been fine. Man, that'd have been worth writing home to mama about. Hey, I may have some slaw made tomorrow. I got a head of cabbage down there in the garden. I think that's just what I'm going to do. What do you say? You had a slaw burger, fries, and a bottle of skeet? Bring it on out to my baby and me. Skunk will open your sinuses. Philip, I got a video back somewhere in the file where I was skinning one. Or at least I was telling about when it happened. Anyway, I was skinning one out there one day. And you strip that tail. You split that tail down, and I take 2 sticks and put it around that tail to pull it, and it'll strip that tail right out. Well, you got to put one hand against the back end of that rascal to pull it. Well, when I put my hand up there and pulled, he skeeted me. And it shot right past my head. It hit me a little bit on the face and got on my... I about gagged right there because, there ain't nothing stronger than that pure essence coming right out there and going right by your snout for you. It's strong then. Yeah. Larry said he'd been eating snowball sandwiches. I bet you have. Snowball sandwich. I figured everybody was still eating them milk sandwiches after they cleaned the bread aisle out in the milk department. I bet down south, down there, anywhere south of I-20, I bet you can't even find a jug of milk on a shelf nowhere. Y'all heard that song somewhere before too, hadn't you? Uncle Sasquatch, he picked up on my reel the other day. I played that Long Hard Ride by the Marshall Tucker Band. It's a good instrumental, and son, I should have put that banjo riff off, and I'll get it in the next video. That old boy could tear that banjo up in there. There used to be a place up there on the Tombigbee River out of Pickensville when we'd go stay. The store's still there, but it ain't American owned no more, if you know what I mean. But when it was American owned, they had a little joint in the back there that they had barbecue and whatnot. And they had a slaw burger in there, y'all. I'm telling you, it was that big around. And when you'd bite into it, the other end would open up like that. You had to keep the other end mashed down where you could bite into it good. And son, there wasn't no way to eat it without getting mayonnaise all the way around your mouth. It was something of the final while. Oh, but you can't get one of them no more. No, but you can get some scratch-off tickets. They got plenty of them, and flat bill hats. Anyway, they called it a mudfish and threw it back in. I seen a picture somewhere. Somebody caught a state record somewhere. It's on the Bowfin Underground page that I follow on Facebook. It may have been the one you're talking about. I don't know if they throwed it back or what they done, but I'm glad they threw it back. That means maybe I can go up there and catch it and fry it. I'm finna quit telling everybody how good Bowfin is because a bunch of folks down there, they seining out my holes, making it hard for me to catch me one when I get hungry. I'm gonna start telling folks, no, they ain't fit to eat. No, just throw them. The only problem is what I worry about is that some of them silly folks, they want to catch a thing and whack it on the head with a boat paddle and throw it on the bank over there. Don't do that. You put my fish back in the water if you don't want him. I'll be down there to get him pretty soon. Don't worry about him. He ain't gonna eat all your brim up, I promise. He might eat a few, but hey, that's just a chance we gotta take. Green Grass and High Tides by the Outlaws. I had to write that down. I don't know that I've heard that. Green Grass and High... I'm out of here, Pen. Let me get back here. All right. Oh, I'll check that out sometime or another. Catfish tournament at Pickensville in April. John, what we fishing with? We fishing with lines or we got to hand pole them? Because I done got the magic bait now. Me and Mike Reeves is going to enter that tournament right there. Mike Reeves, you with me? Are you with me? 10.5-pound grinnell on a cane pole. I bet he had that joker doubled over. Yep, I'm gonna have to check out. I've probably heard this song, but for some reason it ain't stuck out in my mind. Yeah, Paul J'd rather have a brim by a long shot. If he gets in a mess of brim, he'll lay into them. But now that's what we grew up fishing for. Especially, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, them little white brim that's about that size right there is as fine a eating as they is. Now I like to get into what we call them red bellies. A lot of y'all call them pumpkin seed brim, or they got several different names. But red bellies is good, and they are real white fish. But now they say that if you're gonna go over there and catch Appaloosa cat, that them red bellies. And I said, man, You gonna play heck trying to get me to put a red belly on a hook for a catfish. Now I'm just gonna tell you. I ain't gonna say it ain't the right move to make, but I catch a red belly, I'm wanting to scrape his scales off of him and put him in some grease. The 10th, 11th, and 12th. John, keep me up to speed. You'll have to text me and remind me closer to then because I'll be forgot about that. But that may be something I'm interested in, at least being up there camped out at Pickinsville for, whether I enter the tournament or not. I think it'd be fun to be there and see what comes out of there. We play, Wesley, we are tough to use brim here. And my reason is I can't keep them alive. It's usually hot here, and I can't manage to keep a brim alive long enough. Now, if we can get them stump perch or sun perch, they are wonderful. They'll live. Them things will live in a mud hole, and they say them little bitty mudcat about yay long good for them. And I can get a few of them, but really what I normally fish with is shad up there because it's easier to get. The sun perch here, I've had trouble getting them because the last 2 years in a row in the fall, it has dried up so bad. Our little cattle watering holes where them sun perches usually found dry up so bad that the cranes and stuff just eat up what's left in there. I mean, they can just pick them little holes clean. And then some of them little mud holes absolutely dried up and there wasn't no oxygen there and the fish in there died. So I don't know. All right, John, do that. I do want to know more about that. I have never had a mullet, Larry. I've heard a lot of people talk about mullet. In fact, I watched Clay Hayes smoke mullet, and I don't reckon that we got no mullet here. Obviously, we ain't got no ocean here, but I'm thinking ain't that a saltwater fish or at least a brackish water fish? I don't know nothing about mullet. But I have heard that they good. A lot of people smoke them and different stuff, so. I've got some invites to go down to the coast to fish, and I'm going to take old Jeffrey Gray up. Usually he's in here on the chat. I'm going to take him up on a trip here before long and be down there on the Gulf fishing. I hadn't bought a saltwater license, but I'm going to. My fat bottom Stanley mug is sitting... Where is my mug? It's sitting over here somewhere. Michelle may have put it in the... I don't know where it's at. It was a sitting right there on the counter. One point. I don't know. I struggle to keep up with my stuff around here for some odd reason. I ain't gonna name no names, but some folks, they put stuff in a different place every time. I'm gonna say they may stuck it down. I don't know where it's at, to be honest with you. I got about 2 of these green cups that Joey sent me from M4 Laser Works with my name, and they ain't none of them. Can't find Brody. Come here. Folks is asking where you at. He just come in. Who was asking? Somebody. Kenneth Greenhall just asked, where's Brody? Come around over here and hop up in this chair a minute, boy. You got to tell everybody, hey, they've been over there visiting Mama. Come up here. Get up in this chair a second. I tell y'all what's on his mind. So that I could relax in here and watch what I wanted to on the TV, we had to get him a TV put in his room that would hook to the Roku. And now he can watch what you watching in there. Get up there in that chair and sit down. What you in there watching on that TV?
Nothing.
What you been watching on it?
Godzilla.
Godzilla. He's on this Godzilla kick. So Brody is in the house. What is my favorite fish bait? Oh, Brody, what is your favorite fish bait?
Blue.
Blue? That's your favorite color, but which bait is your favorite? What kind of bait?
Rainbow.
He's got one that out of that stuff Low Butcher Baits that is a squid-looking little thing. He likes it. He hung a griddle on that thing and caught a crappie on it. He's gone. He got other stuff on his mind. He ain't gonna sit here long. Watch. He like to run over the tripod. He's headed in his room. Brody likes dinosaurs and Godzilla and gorillas and Bigfoot, and he likes to look for old Bigfoot every now and then.
He got him a new toy for doing his schoolwork all week.
Yeah, we homeschooling him. Michelle is. You gonna get up here and talk?
And reading his book, and so he got a King Kong toy.
You get up here and sit down with me. They've been wondering where you was at. They said you got mad at them, didn't love them no more.
I went to my mama's for a little bit.
I've done talked to my throat sore. You take my slack up for a little while.
You know I don't talk much.
I done told them about old Ralph Bennett's Volkswagen he bought.
I don't know who that is.
You know Wendy Bagwell.
Oh. But we had taken our Christmas tree down since we visited y'all last.
You know, it was up one of them videos in here the other day. I know y'all noticed it was still up. We finally took that monster down and put it right on up in that attic. We like to froze to death putting that thing in the attic. Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors. Thank you for watching.
I didn't know he was going to film y'all right here looking at the dirty kitchen.
Yes, she did. Everybody's telling you, hey, she can't see the
I can't see the comment.
I'll slide it over here. I got everything hooked to a cord so it don't die on us.
Hey, everybody.
Brody is right-handed. I was wondering, and I'm glad he is, and that is the reason I had a bunch of people give me some flack when I built my flintlock. I'm left-handed, obviously. Everybody like, why did you build it right-handed? I said, because one day, when I'm gone, I'm going to give it to him. It'll be his rifle one of these days. I'm going to build either a 50 or a 45 caliber probably before next fall because of all the trouble I've had with muzzleloaders. I'm going to build me one to deer hunt with that I can trust, that I can shoot because I want to hunt black powder. I didn't have nothing I trusted to shoot this year, so I just throwed it down and quit worrying with it. I may pick it up this summer or this spring and see if I can get that one shooting better. I had it fairly decent, but I'm going to put a little more effort when I got time and ain't rushed. But I'm probably going to build one sometime this summer, and I'm going to build it right-handed too. That way, if Lissy or one of them wants it, they can shoot it because it don't matter to me if it's right or left-handed. And I get people saying, oh, it's going to blow up in your face. And this. If it blows up, I mean, it don't matter which side that lock's on. It's going to hurt the same, you know.
Let's see, Stephen wanted to know if I'd made any more of them canned biscuits.
Hey,
well, I did.
Tell them about them biscuits you made this morning and what happened to them.
Listen to you. So,
this is a good one.
Back during the summer, I went ahead and made up a whole bunch of biscuits, and I flash froze them and put them in the freezer so I could have them like those frozen biscuits from Walmart, you know, that would rise. Well, I got some out and I thawed them, and I cooked them, but they didn't rise. They was flat.
Doughy on the inside. I took a bite off into one of them things.
Brody ate one, but Justin didn't. He wouldn't eat one.
I tell you, when you know a biscuit ain't no good, I throwed it on the floor to Roscoe and he wouldn't eat it.
No, thank you, Greg. I don't think I'm gonna eat any of that beaver tonight. That's why I went to my mama's.
You go to Sonic?
No.
She loves Sonic.
I did go to Taco Bell today. I went to Taco Bell and got me 2 soft tacos and a small Diet Pepsi.
And a roll of toilet paper.
But the Diet Pepsi it didn't taste right. It had a wang to it, so I had to go in and get me a regular Pepsi.
I ain't never eaten that. Now that didn't have a wang to it. How'd you notice it had a wang to it? Won't eat beaver, but they'll go eat that slop. Now you explain that for me. Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen, that's what it was like, was eating that Indian bread off Jeremiah Johnson. What did she say? What did he ask her on that movie?
I can't remember.
They was eating. He said,
come here, boy, eat this. I said, good for you. He said,
he didn't like whatever it was.
He said, full.
Yeah, they look like hockey
Yeah.
pucks. I throw them out to the chickens today.
I ain't sure the chickens he made them. They have to wait for the fire ants to come out of the ground before them biscuits disappear.
Somebody asked me about flat bottom cups. I have got flat bottom cups
If
made.
we want them in this color.
They're for. I have made some people ordered some, and I made the ones that have been ordered. But my kiln is outside, and it's digital. So with the temperatures being in the 20s, I cannot fire it.
And the stuff won't dry right in there. We ain't been able to keep that shed warm enough. I hadn't hooked the wood stove inside the shed up. I've got to buy one of them $100 pieces of insulated pipe to cut a hole in the roof and run it straight, because I added on to the back and I had it run out that back wall. Well, when I put that truss up there, it went over the hole where that was, so I had to take that out. Well, I've got to buy one of them pieces of pipe and run it right straight up through the ceiling, which ain't a big deal. I just hadn't done it.
So if you ordered a cup, a flat bottom cup, they're made and they are dried. I'm just waiting for the temperature to go up this weekend. It's supposed to go up above 25, which we've had during the daytime. It's been, but at night it takes about 12 to 13 hours for that thing to cook. So if once the temperatures start dropping in the afternoons, it makes my kiln misfire, and then I have to redo it again. So I'm hoping come tomorrow the temperatures are supposed to stay. And aren't they supposed to stay below 40?
We're gonna be,
they're
gonna be
40?
above. I think 33 is the low tomorrow night. Tonight it's gonna be down 20, like 27, 28's the low tonight. And then tomorrow the low is in the 30s, and it's gonna get up to 50s, and then it's gonna just go on up. It's gonna be like the 70s by the end of next week, which I'm ready for a break. I mean, I like the cooler. My ideal weather is a high of 60s, 70s, low in the 40s and 30s. That's ideal weather for me. But my philosophy is I can deal with the cold better than I can deal with the excruciating heat. And it's because of my metal roofing days and heat strokes. And I'm sure when I get a little older, my blood thins, all that'll be totally different. So, I'm not going to argue all of that. But right now, I can't handle the heat. It kills me.
Martin, I tried to tell Brody. Brody tried to tell me last night that Godzilla was real. And I told him, I said, no, son. I said, Godzilla is not real. He said, yes, he is. I said, no, he's not real.
Well, look now, Larry Alexander, you and Uncle Sasquatch, if y'all decide to mail y'all self down here, either use the U.S. Postal Service. They do pretty good delivering here. UPS does a pretty good job, but now if you mess up and get FedExed here, there's no telling where they liable to put you. You won't never find your way back. Now, some places is probably pretty good. We have had a couple of good delivery drivers here. Several of the girls were pretty good, but now we've had some guys lately that, they just put stuff wherever,
Alicia, if I don't know if you follow my Southern Mud Pottery Facebook page, but if you'll go to my Facebook page and send me an inbox, I can get you a church plate made.
Brody, the Bigfoot hunters is back in here. Ohio Bigfoot researchers, welcome. Glad you joined us again. Brody likes to look for Bigfoot.
You can't see him.
His name's on it. He come running through. He looked like a breeze when he went by him.
He's took a hold of my cell phone tonight. I won't have a hard time getting it back.
They messed up and bought him a little old iPad thing. I don't know what it was for Christmas. As soon as it warms up enough he can get outside, I'm going to take all that mess away from him. Raptor Ranch, welcome. Welcome to the family. Subscribe and join up. We all like family here. We pick, carry on, have a good time. I call what I do educational or entertainment, educational entertainment. We try to teach you a little something, but we're going to have a lot of fun, tell a lot of jokes along the way. We're going to make it fun.
See, here's my Taco Bell
I don't be getting
evidence.
too serious about nothing.
You didn't see my Taco Bell evidence.
Yeah. She'll try to hide it every now and then. Bigfoot and Godzilla, yeah. Brody, he watched old Godzilla and Bigfoot, and I don't know what. Something else. What was that other thing that was on there? It wasn't Bigfoot, it was something else. Godzilla and
Jurassic Park.
no, the King Kong. That's the one. That old King Kong, there was a fist fighting on there. That's the awfulest fist fight I ever seen in my life. They tore up a whole town right there on television. Wasn't a thing nobody could do to stop it. Randall Hayes said his cousin lives in Ohio and swears he saw Bigfoot on the Ohio Powers. I may have, I don't know. I ain't never seen one. Honey Owl of the Swamp at the bottom of the Pearl River has a large, very smelly bipedal wandering around in the swamp. Now, we had an old fellow that lived here that walked around barefooted all the time, and when you seen where he'd been fishing up down the swamp, you'd have swore we had one here. Because he had a foot about yay long now.
These are his toys. He got these two.
Yeah. This and him's got a school bus on his arm.
That's
There's
King
one.
Kong.
Yeah, and we found Bigfoot. Look, we found him in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, didn't we? Ain't that where we got this one?
Yeah.
So we got the evidence right here.
Dad,
And then who's
What?
this, Brody?
I saw Bigfoot.
Yeah, look at this one here. He got a school bus on his arm.
King Kong. No, this is
Godzilla.
I seen Bigfoot way up my window.
This is what we spend our money on right here.
David Russian said Bigfoot was saw on Wilmer, Alabama on a lake over there. Well, I can promise you, if I find one, we'll find out if it's good as beaver or not. Reckon if you shot one, you'd get arrested for it.
What?
Shooting Bigfoot. If you seen him and shot him, would you get arrested?
Wouldn't
Or
that
is
be
it-
considered murder?
Well, I don't know.
Better not be talking about it on here. We'll get cut off.
What we asking questions? We ain't pulled a firearm out yet and went at him. We learned our valuable lesson about pulling a firearm out on live. Don't do it. We don't have firearms. Lost them all in a boating accident.
You get shut down.
Oh. He said they got a lot of pictures. Well, look, if you was to find one and you shot him, would you go to jail for it? Is it a criminal? I mean, seriously, like if you shoot one, I mean, is that a law against it, or is it like is he protected species? What's the story here? I feel like, Jeff, that you right. I feel like if I shot him, game and fish would have me behind bars. I'd be with that old boy that shot that eagle that time. They locked him up. I still don't think he's got out. And there's some old boys down at Meridian that shot one of them bears that they'd been tracking.
That beaver stinks.
That beaver don't stink. You can throw that pan out. I've got all the beaver I wanted in this other pan covered up. Don't touch that. It's black on the top. I need a lid for that bowl, too. I couldn't find it. I'd left that pan in there. Just go set that out there. Roxanne will work that bones over. She'll have them scattered all over the yard.
Well, it looks like something you see out in the woods.
Well, Philip, he said, how old does Bigfoot live to be? We ain't never caught one, so we don't know. Is it the same one, or they probably respawn, having babies, and they just... Tommy Litchfield said when he hunts at Oak Tibby WMA, I write Bigfoot under other game being pursued just in case. Backwoods Homestead said Bigfoot is not on Alabama Department of Natural Resources site, game or none game. If it ain't listed, they can't put you in jail for it if they ain't got wrote in there, because I mean it's close to human, but it had to technically be an animal, wouldn't it? Anyway. Well, jailbait and tackle, they might have seen a fat one and they didn't know if it was pregnant or if it just, been eating a lot like me. Sometimes I look pregnant. Who knows? Send Marcel Ledbetter to hunt for him. I think that is a wonderful idea. Oh well, I had never seen, heard, or seen any evidence once, so I really ain't gonna sit here and say I got an opinion one way or another. The good Lord can make whatever He wants to and put it out there. What did I miss? Bailey said he saw a Bigfoot swimming with a mermaid on Sardis Lake once. He said, but he quit drinking that day. Oh, Lord. Well. Maybe one day somebody will get one, get the picture made with him. I'm sure somebody will try to put them in jail. At least fine them. If you can't do nothing else, the answer is always to fine somebody. Because them paying a bunch of money makes it okay, right? If you pay the fine, okay, well, you're good to go. Turn you loose. That's about the way we do everything now, ain't it?
Yeah.
If you do something wrong, basically, if you got enough money, you can afford to do what you want to. So. Long as he don't start spoiling my deer hunting and my ground fishing, I'm okay with it. Randall Hayes said, if I get one, will you cook it? I'll try. Cody said Brody needs to watch Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, I forgot about Harry and the Hendersons. He would love that. I don't know if it comes on.
Harry and the Hendersons. I'll have to write that down because I'll forget.
I've watched it growing up.
Brody's favorite movie has always been either McClintock or The Crimson Pirate. He likes them old 70s shows.
But he don't like the old Godzilla.
Fish Hawk.
Black and white. He don't like black and white movies. He wanted to know why it didn't have any color to it.
Well, Stephen, Bear Claw, he flinting out the rock, said sharpen up the scale of fish with. That's what he used. Ohio Bigfoot researcher said they took his deer one year. He killed a deer and the Bigfoot's got it. I'm going to tell you, that'd make me fight mad. I will tell y'all this. Now, this is a true story. We got some neighbors right up the road up here. I say right up the road. It's 5 or 6 miles. They killed a deer and something drug it off, did it not?
I don't know.
Alicia and them was telling us about it. Charles and them, some of them shot a deer and something got it.
Oh.
They thinking it was a panther that got it because whatever it was big enough to drag a whole deer, like a grown 160 to 170 pound deer. I think it was a doe. Drug it off. They don't know what done it, but they found the blood and the teeth mark. What all they found? They found part of the deer.
I hadn't
didn't
heard
they?
that story.
You was sitting there when they was telling you
I
that
don't
your
pay
mama's.
attention when we sitting around the dinner table.
Oh Lord.
I'm off in La La Land.
She's like I said in that reel, she's sitting there thinking of what she's gonna say next so she don't forget. So when you slow down talking, she can chime in right quick. She ain't heard a word you said. Yeah.
I have a one-track mind.
But seriously, this happened this year. They killed a deer up there less than 6-7 miles from here. And when they went and tracked it down and found a deer, either they found part of the deer or they may have found the deer and part of it was ate. I don't know, but something had drug it and drug a whole deer like and moved it. No, I know what it was. They found the deer and knew where it was at and left and went to get the four-wheeler to come back and it was gone. And they had to hunt it down again, I think, and they finally found part of it, something like that. I'll have to get the details on that story and share it with you, but this happened this year. They thinking Panther got it. They did not say Black Panther. They just said Panther now. Because when we go into the Black Panther, there's a whole lot of, oh, yeah, they real, and no, they ain't. I don't know. I don't care. I don't get into all that. I ain't never seen one. I've seen a tan one. I ain't never seen a black one. But I ain't going to say they ain't there. Tennessee Smoky, we stretching it thin, I can tell you that. We might not tell you a story, but we'll stretch the truth out to where you can see through it. Oh, Lord. Carly Lawrence, hello in Texas. Raptor Ranch. Here on the reservation. What reservation are you on, Raptor Ranch? We've got a Nana Warrior reservation here, the Choctaw Native Americans, and Pearl River. Well, we've got 3 reservations there. We've got Nana Warrior, we've got Pearl River, and Bokchita, right? I shared on my YouTube, back in the summer some of the stickball matches they did here. I like watching the stickball. You remember watching?
Ain't there more than that?
They may be.
Conahata?
Conahata's got a reservation.
The one on the way to Meridian?
Tucker? Tucker's down there on the way to Meridian. We have got a huge mound down here in the swamp. See, the Choctaw Native Americans here built the mound builders. So there's the Nana Warrior Mound that is well known as the Native American mound up there. And it's not far right up here. But there's another huge mound that's twice the size of it down in the swamp. We're not sure whether it's a Native American mound or if it was something they say created by floodwaters. Because there's boulders on one and it's curve shaped. So there's a lot of people saying that there's some in Alabama and flatlands that they're all from water runoff, which we say was when the floodwaters receded after the Great Flood. But I don't know about all that. Anyway. Yeah, Tennessee Smoky, on the mountain men called them yarns. It's an art to telling a good story and stretching it thin and having a good time. Porch Creek Indians on land border me on the south side, backwoods homesteader. Bad River Reservation is Chippewa. Ah, Chippewa. Ebro, Florida, Sammy Casey. Thank you for joining in and welcome to the family, y'all. All of you that are new to the channel, thank y'all for joining. You are family here. This is not just a, hey, we do it. This is a Spirit of the Outdoors is a family. We'll teach you something about survival. We'll teach you how to garden. We'll tell you a joke, make it fun along the way, and preach to you on Sunday because Jesus loves you. David Crockett, in a book, said he shot a Sasquatch that slammed his son on the ground. Well, if David Crockett said it, David Crockett told the truth. David Crockett was an upright, upstanding fellow. Is stickball an Amish game? Jeff, in all honesty, I don't know where. I'm assuming the Native Americans developed the stickball game here on their own accord. I don't think it was brought here from anywhere. I really don't know. But I know the Choctaw Nation here is. Tommy said stickball is the grandpappy of lacrosse, but more like hockey and MMA mixed in. I would agree on that. They did the stickball tournaments when they have the Choctaw here does what? The Choctaw Indian Fair. And that's what it's called. I know some people frown on the word Indian, but I'm just telling you that's what it's named. And they play stickball where they stream it. Well, we sat in here and watched it, and I kept up with the tournaments. I mean, I'd rather watch that than football any day of the week. I don't even care about, I used to be an Alabama fan, and still, if I'm going to watch football, I'll pull for Alabama. But I don't watch it like I used to, don't care nothing about it no more. Stickball is a heap more fun than football. I'm telling you it is.
Bye, Jailbait. We'll see you. Have a good night and a good weekend.
Thank you for joining in tonight. But yeah, they take a little they make new sticks every year out of hickory, and then you can go to the pawn shop up there and buy them for about $60 or $70. I'm probably gonna buy me a set of them sticks at some point and cross them and hang them up here on the wall, just because I mean they're just be something good to have, you know, as a relic. But they get rough out there, y'all. Now I don't think they just deliberately try to whack each other in the head. But they get whacked in the head with them hickory sticks now, and I'm telling you, and they little old ball, and they like lacrosse trying to hit a pole.
If you had ever watched it, Dave, you can probably look it up on YouTube and find a game.
You can go watch the whole game. They streamed it live, but you can go back and watch it. And if you'll go back to about July, I shared the stream on this channel. So, or I know I shared it on my Facebook, didn't I? I think I put it on both. So if you go back to about July, whenever that is, how you get back there, I've shared some links to it. I can't remember the YouTube channel that it's actually on. I'm subscribed
Good night,
to
Mr.
it.
Charlie.
But it is very fun to watch. I mean, if you ain't never seen stickball, it's well worth your time to watch a match. Now, you may not like it, but I enjoyed it. Nancy Roscoe's doing good. He was over here eating beaver with me. He was just down below the bar. You couldn't see him. He's here. He's been laid up on the couch. He's good. Charlie Pickerel.
He said he was going to bed.
Good night. I was going to text you today. I'll get with you tomorrow, brother. I wanted to talk to you. Been meaning to get up with you. I just been busy, but thank you for joining in. Seriously. Huckleberry. Tommy Litchfield, I've never heard this. He said the Choctaws also had a game with stone balls called Chunky. The little town of Chunky on the Chunky River is named after the Choctaw town on that spot, named after the game. I did not know any of this. I really did not. I've never heard of the game Chunky. Now, if they play them with a rock, I bet that is a rough game. That's probably why I ain't never heard of it. They probably outlawed that. Sammy Casey, I'm trying to get her to make some more cooking videos, but she don't like editing, and I ain't editing her videos for her.
Well, and when I get in here and start cooking supper, sometimes I forget to pull the camera out. When I get cooking supper on my mind, I get in there and do what I got to do, and then I'm like, oh, I should have made a video of that. Like last night. Last night I made a big old pot of homemade chocolate syrup, because Brody likes chocolate syrup. And a lot of times
trying to get away from that red dye that they're trying to get banned out of everything.
I don't like to give him a lot of the additives, so I make his own. And so I made that last night. And what else? Oh, I made homemade pizzas, and I cooked one, and then I froze a pizza. And I was like, after I got through, I said, well, I should have videoed those.
The little black dog's doing good, Jeff. She's right here. She's One of them, I don't know which one of them has been getting sick at night. We woke up several mornings and Michelle's had to clean vomit up out of the floor. I think it's her, and I don't know if we ate something. I don't know, but she's doing good. Brody's trying to bounce your phone, see if it'll bounce. They're gonna start making them out of rubber one day. But that dog right there is runt now. She's about 8 or 9 years old. We're not sure, so she's on up in years. Brody keeps her nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
He's been being mean to her this week, hasn't he?
Well, Tommy, I'll have to look that up. I'm gonna have to look that up. I hadn't ever made chocolate gravy. No Randall Ross, but I have heard of chocolate gravy a time or two. I'm trying to find a place to put my cookbooks. All my wild game cookbooks have been put away, and I want to think chocolate gravy was in one of them. But since we pulled everything out for the Christmas village, when I put books back, I'm going to be selective of what books I put back in that shelf. I had a bunch of Brody's books in there, but we're going to fix something else in his room for his books to go in there instead of toys on his shelf. And I want my cookbooks over there where I can get to them, because I don't look at them because they're all stacked up. And I'll be honest with you, I got to confess, I ordered 2 more Justin Wilson cookbooks this week. They were $5 a piece on Thrift Books. And they ought to be here next week. I'll see what's in them. But I love Justin Wilson. Something about that man, I can watch him all day long.
What's the name of my channel? Southern Mud Pottery.
Southern Mud Pottery on the Homestead. Huckleberry, I married you so. I'm sick of feeding chickens out here in the ice. Or really watering them. Feeding them ain't been a problem, but watering them has been tough. Hey,
especially when you ain't used to it.
But I am seriously going to redo some stuff with my chickens. I'll probably film it. I'm going to rearrange a bunch of stuff because I want all my Americanas in the big pen. I'm going to pull the rooster out of the big pen of games, and I'm going to put them game hens that's left over into that long running pen where I've got Americanas now. And we're going to thin down. I'm going to get rid of some chickens, and we're going to keep the grays and the blacks as the only two. And then I'm going to start a run of the reds. I've got a couple of hens that I'm going to put with that big red rooster that's in a big pen and run them. And then the rest of that stuff I'm fixing. I've got some white bannies that I would love to put on somebody they fixing to have to leave here. I've got 2 roosters and 2 hens. And I think I got 2 hens. I got to see what that other little one is in that pen with that trio in it. But I'm tired of trying to see after so many chickens, because what I want to do this summer is I want to get some meat birds. It just makes more sense to me for what I'm doing. I mean, I love the game roosters. I like the way they look, but they're not beneficial to me. And if I'm going to pay to feed something, I would like to have some kind of birds that, hey, if I need to, I can kill it and eat it. And they ain't none of these that I got fit to eat, really and truly. So I'm going to do something different here.
Yeah, talking about that red-eye gravy, I had never made it, but now I've watched Brenda Gant on Facebook on Brenda Gant. I've watched her make it a many a
with
time.
Black coffee?
Yeah, you use black coffee and drippings from fried ham.
And one thing we ain't never really made a lot of is a tomato gravy. My sister-in-law makes some really good tomato gravy. My brother's wife, and she always brings it when we have a breakfast eating at the cabin, and she'll make tomato gravy. It's really good. We ain't never really tried to make it, have we?
No, and I like gravy. I like white sausage, like sauce country gravy.
I can eat any of it.
Sawmill gravy, whatever you want to call it. I like it on biscuits. Now, Justin, he ain't crazy about biscuits and gravy.
I do like biscuits and gravy. Don't be putting words in my mouth.
I've never thought you was a big biscuit gravy.
I like, if it's your mama's, I always get a biscuit and put gravy on it. Every Sunday dinner. That and you know what I have for dessert over there usually? Fried chicken wings. That's dessert. I could eat a plate full of fried chicken wings. They flour them and roll them in that gravy. Ooh.
Now I make brown gravy a lot. We do a lot of brown gravy, but very rarely do we do like breakfast gravy. You know, sawmill gravy.
You want
with
this one
sausage.
too? He come grabbed his men. Like that old boy raising that three-legged chicken. Yeah. Hey, I don't know if everybody's heard that story. Old boy, he was driving down the road, and there's something run across the road, and he looked, and I knew that wasn't what I thought it was. He put that old car in reverse and backed up, turned down the little road, went down the long road, and dead end down there in the fellow's house, and looked, sure enough, running right across the yard was a three-legged chicken run across the yard.
I do. When I make
He said-
sawmill gravy, I do.
Got out, walked up on the porch. The fella come out on the porch, said, "Hey, can I help you?" He said, "Well," he said, "I hope." He said, "I don't mean to bother you." He said, "But I was driving by," and he said, I about know I saw a three-legged chicken run across the road." Old man started laughing. Stuck his hand down his overall. He said, "Yeah." He said, "That's what it was, three-legged chicken." He said, "Where in the world did you get a three-legged chicken?" He said, "Well," he said, "I like chicken legs." Said, "My boy likes chicken legs." Said, "Our preacher likes chicken legs." He said, "So I kept meddling around there till I started raising a three-legged chicken. That way we'd have enough chicken legs on Sunday dinner." The man said, "Really?" He said, "Well, how do they taste?" He said, "Oh, no, we ain't never caught one."
I've made tomato gravy a few times, but most of the time when we make gravy, it's if we're frying deer meat or something.
Do
and we
you
just-
make your sawmill gravy with milk?
Yes, I make sawmill gravy with milk and sausage usually.
Well, Tennessee Smoky, we now got some Spirit of the Outdoors sausage made out of deer meat, and we make gravy and put on that. We got plenty of it right now.
What?
Our own sausage.
Oh yeah. Now, I've never made buttermilk pie, Stephen, but I have heard of buttermilk pie. Matter of fact, I don't know if maybe I've got 3 of Brenda Gant's cookbooks. If she's got some kind of pie in there like that, I think.
Yep. Sounds like a plan. Get us a skillet full of that sausage cooking and make some gravy to go in it.
Might do that tomorrow morning.
And some of them cat head biscuits. I like when you cram a whole bunch of biscuits in a tall skillet and make them rise and get real tall.
See, me and Justin like different biscuits.
She likes them look
I
like cookies.
And Brody does too. Brody likes a little smaller, but
I like a big fluffy, big like you biting into a cloud. You just
I
feel
don't.
like you float off
it's
after
just
you
too
eat
much
it.
bread for me. You can't even taste your sausage.
She likes to make them like cookies. You know, you bite into it, it's more like a
Not
cracker
like
than it is a biscuit.
About this thick. Justin wants them way up here. You can't even open your mouth to eat.
Oh.
But now them this morning looked like they was awful.
Yeah. How about some good old boudin, Nancy Pierce? My cousin Tracy sent me up here or brought me some, whose was it, Jack?
I can't remember.
Oh, it was down there from Denham Springs. They got a store down there. What's the name of that boudin? It was fine. I stood right there at the skillet and ate every bite of it. I mean, I cleaned it
think
up.
Cheryl-
Jerry Lee's, that's who it was. Jerry Lee's boudin. Fine stuff I'm talking about. Yes, sir. Dave had it right, Jerry Lee's. Yes, sir. That was some good stuff. When I head back down that way, I'm gonna be getting me a box full of that, put it in the freezer up here somewhere. They don't nobody up here make that. CJ said there ought to be a Southern Mud Pottery cookbook available in the future.
I hear that's a job. I'm gonna take maybe one of these honey buns.
Steve, hey, that's the reason they took to my daughter's boyfriend. He works at a vending machine, stocks in vending machines. Well, when stuff goes bad, they have to take it out and throw
Well,
it
it ain't
away.
bad- it ain't when it
Well,
goes
they're
bad.
throwing it away, he's bringing it in, dumping it out, and we're gonna all be biggest tubs for it's
It's
over
not
with.
when it goes bad, but when the date starts getting close to it, they have to take them out of the vending machines. So he brings snacks. Boxes.
He's figured out a way to win everybody's heart. That's what he done. You couldn't run him off with hot sauce now. Oh, Lord. Yeah, Stephen said a man ain't in his mind to leave a woman that can cook a biscuit that good. If a man will leave a woman that'll cook a biscuit, his heart ain't in the right place. He got his mind on the wrong thing.
Roscoe heard this paper rattling.
Yeah, here he come. Come here, son.
You gonna hurt him when you pick him up.
Hang on. Come over here. Turn around. Come over here.
He's still a little sore when you pick him up. He cries.
Get up here on the table.
He's
They
hurt.
want to see you.
We don't know exactly where he's. Well, he's up here right on the bar. We eat here. But I put Lucky up here while I go too.
Sit down. See it. Good boy. See it. This is my buddy, y'all. He's my best friend, him and Brody. Now he's Michelle's best friend at the moment. Look at him, got that head cocked sideways in the mirrors. He's watching every bite.
Well, we had a dog fight down here in the floor.
They'll be tied up over that honey bun. I did see that he had some of them Texas Danish in there. Roscoe, I can't see around you. Look at him. He's locked in. They ain't never locked in on an airplane with a fighter jet no harder than Roscoe's locked in on that honey bun right now.
Look, well, come.
Look at him. He's focused.
This was mine.
Not now. You done messed up. Roscoe, you right between me and a kid. They can't even see nothing but my do-rag peeping up over your head. You feeling better, buddy? You are? Turn around and tell them folks. Look at there. See them folks? Look.
He'll be jumped off and fell off the bar.
Let me get him down. Oh. Come here. Come on. Come here. Come on, buddy. Come on.
He cries if you squeeze him.
Yeah. Easy. Oh. I'm trying to be gentle with him till he gets well. I don't know if anything's broke or not. They x-rayed him and they didn't see nothing broke, but something's wrong. But it ain't bad. I think it's getting well. It's just tender maybe. So I don't really think nothing's broke, but you can't be sure. But if it is, they probably ain't nothing they can do about it, truth be told. He seems to be getting around okay for the most part, so. He scared me, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. When I seen him howling, when I walked around the corner of that building, my heart sunk. I wasn't ready for that. All I could think about was, man, this is it. I'm finna have to put him down. I mean, my stomach turned. So, good Lord was good to us and fortunate. He was merciful to us that day. Yeah, Tommy, I think that's what I think. His gizzard's just sore. And I think what happened is he had chased the truck and didn't see the trailer, and I think that trailer clipped him in the back end, and I don't know that it run over him, but it for sure hit him. Most likely it probably did run over him, but it was a 16-foot trailer, and I don't know, I can't remember if it was a double axle or not. I just know that the little guy was pulling a trailer, and he brought it over there to get Daddy to weld on something on that trailer, and it wasn't his fault. The dog run out there. It wasn't like he tried to run over him. He didn't stop, but I told him, I said, he probably didn't even see it, didn't even know it happened, you know.
We just heard Roscoe screaming. I was inside.
Yeah. Uncle Seth said he had 3 strokes when he found out about Roscoe.
We did too.
It made me sick. I really did. I was scared to death there for a minute, but didn't take me long to realize I think he's going to be all right, but let's go get him checked out. That way if something's wrong, we can see what we need to do. Yeah, Tommy, I made Roscoe tell you exactly how many axles was on it. Yeah. Oh, Bigfoot, he is a squirrel dog by heart. I can't sit here and tell you he's just like championship squirrel dog by no means.
He's just spoiled.
but he loves to hunt squirrels. His problem with it is when you go to the woods, he gets so excited, he runs wide open everywhere. Well, he's partly white, and every squirrel can see him, and they run and hide before he gets calm enough to settle down and start really trying to tree them. But now I've got some video of him treeing and treeing good. Roscoe, you can hunt posted land with Roscoe. Roscoe will bark a time or two till he sees you coming and you know there's a squirrel there, and then he just watches it, shuts up, and he don't say another word. He'll keep his eye on it and follow it, and he'll move tree to tree with it. He's gonna watch that squirrel. So he hunts them probably a little more by sight than he does by smell, which is not really a good thing. But that's what he loves to hunt. So I take him hunting some, but now he's best at treeing a biscuit. He can tree a biscuit, I'm talking about.
We don't really know what he's. I think he is. He is part Jack Russell, ain't he?
I don't know. My neighbor had a dog that we called a feist, and basically that is just a small breed of dog. He had a female, and there was a stray dog come up that bred that female, and it was a solid black little dog. It looked just like what he had, so it was a feist too. Well, when he had the puppies, we had just buried my pit bull that I had had for 8 years or 9 years, and I wanted another dog right then. I mean, I didn't want to go another day without another dog, so we got Roscoe. And I mean, you could hold him in your hand. He screamed for 2 hours after we dug him out from under that gazebo up there. There was, 3 of them puppies?
Yeah, he acted like we was killing him.
He didn't want to come with us for nothing in the world. But now he wouldn't go back for nothing in the world. He's had a good life.
He cried and cried and cried the whole Sunday afternoon.
I'm probably at some point going to get one of them DNA tests and let's see what he is. I'm curious too. I figure there's some Jack Russell in him, and I don't know if it's rat terrier or fox terrier or what all is in him, but I really would like to know what all is there.
He is part couch dog, that's for sure. Because at any point during the daytime, if it's cold, he ain't going outside. You'll find him in the bed with his feet up in the air.
I don't know, where do you get them DNA? Where do you order them at?
I don't know.
I'm sure I can
Somewhere
Google it
online.
and it'll pop up. But I know you can order them online and do the test some way or another, and then they'll send it back to you and tell you what all's in there, and it'll probably blow your mind, everything that's mixed together. But he's more my friend than he is anything. Because I can fuss at him and he don't say a word back. He just listens. And
We've got 3 friends sitting down here.
Yeah.
All 3 of them down here staring at us.
Roxanne's been in and out. Roxanne
It's
is as
special.
good a track dog as they are. She's a little touched in the head. But if I leave on that buggy, I can go all the way to swamp anywhere. And her be in the house or chained up or something, he's wanting back up.
Yeah, but you can hurt him.
Oh, sit right there. Sit right here. Sit. But anyway, she can track that buggy anywhere it goes. And we have her in the house. Well, if I go down there to try to hunt or I like to just walk through the woods and look, a lot of times I'm going to probably to pray, really walk around and pray. And if you total around, you ain't gonna see nothing with Roxanne running loose. So if I decide I'm gonna go and I wanna hope I see a squirrel or something, I have to chain her up to leave. And then if I know we got company coming or I know there's a delivery person coming, I have to chain her up. She won't bite people, but Lord help, she gets him stirred up. And they both run out there going crazy. And they scare people that don't know them. They think, the delivery people won't get out. So if I know one of y'all is coming by to visit or whatever, or somebody's coming to pick up pottery or pick up a knife or whatever, I chain her up and put him in the house, hopefully, so that we, just keep from scaring people to death. Now, usually once Roscoe gets around you, he's fine, and which she is too, but
Roxanne, when I was working at the animal hospital, I worked at the animal hospital for I worked at 2 different ones, so probably 13 to 15 years I worked. But at this one, anyway, I come into work one morning, and there was this little bitty puppy. Somebody had left her in the chair at work. I guess that morning or during the night or something. And she was sitting in the chair and she had a broke leg.
You could have held her in both little hands.
And we kept her at the clinic. And then finally I brought her home with me. And she had a broke leg. And she was just abandoned. She had been abandoned.
They was going to euthanize her is what happened because they didn't have nobody to charge or, I mean, they could have fixed the leg, but they didn't know who to charge it to or whatever, so they was just going to put the puppy to sleep. So if you got one that, like, you step on it or run over it and break its leg and you just take it up there because you don't want it and think they'll fix it and save it, most likely they're going to put it to sleep. But Michelle, when she seen it, she brought her home. Which she's a good dog, but she's touched in the head. If it thunders, she runs around out in the yard, jumping up, biting at the sky, like just berserk, crazy as a bat.
She bites the rain.
Anything with wheels, I can't move that buggy. She don't try to bite all four wheels, slam off of it. She wants to eat them up. So. Fried eggs. I don't even know if we got any eggs. Yeah, I thought about this week. I've been watching Justin Wilson cook a good bit. That's when I've had time to sit down, I just ain't been in the mood to watch a lot of YouTube. And which I was on YouTube, but I watched Justin Wilson cooking. That's what I put on because I wind up asleep. And I'm watching it on the TV, so I can't comment on nothing anyway. And I thought about it this way. I said, I really ain't done any cooking videos in quite a while. I've had so much going on and busy, and I just hadn't got out there and I'll set that whole back outdoor kitchen up for the purpose of doing cooking videos. But it's like when I filmed the shooting that little old rifle the other day. I don't know, the lighting out there is terrible, and I need to do a better job of getting lights set up out there to where I can do what I need to do and be able to see what's going on. And I could get my hands on some more good lights. I know I could.
Well.
The preacher and the drunk driver. Yeah. I know that one. He said that.
Eating?
Wait, what are you doing?
Come back over here.
But anyway, said the preacher was going down the road and said he pulled out, said the guy that went by him, he said he knew he'd just left the bar, said he was old drunk from up the road, been in the bar drinking. Preacher was following him. You're going to have to get him over where I can talk.
Come over here.
Preacher was following the drunk, said that drunk said, man, he was from one ditch to the other one. Said, man, he got over here and then he is over there. He said, man, for miles, said he followed him. Said he'd staying back, said in case something happened, said he knew good and well, said he was going to have a bad wreck. Anyway, he said he got up there and said, anyway, old drunk went to light him a cigarette. Said, man, the vehicle just straightened up and drove perfect because he didn't have his hands on the wheel. Said he lighted a cigarette. Said the preacher took that opportunity to pass him. Said he got around in front of him. Said he didn't want to run off and leave him. He said he was worried to death about the old drunk, wanted to make sure he got where he's going. So he was watching in his rearview mirror, trying to keep up with him and made sure he made it. Well, preacher looking up in the rearview mirror didn't see when the road turn went that way, and he went straight and off in the ditch. The preacher went, stuck. The old drunk swerved up there, pulled out, got out, staggering around, said, you all right? And the preacher got out and said, yeah, said, the good Lord's riding with me. Drunk told said, well, you better let him ride the rest of the way with me because you're going to kill him sure enough. Oh.
Put him down.
Good night, Joey. Come on. Oh, easy.
We'll have to give the bar a big scrubbing after this
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, you're going to have to wash it with soap. We done got dog hair all up here and everything else. Lord, have mercy. People just nasty. Oh, Lord. Y'all, it is 9:30. We need to shut this down. Nancy Pierce said my cat is up in front of my TV chasing Roscoe.
Here he come running.
Cody said Justin Wilson is from Tangipahoa Parish, which is about 30 minutes north of New Orleans, about an hour and 30 minutes north of me. I heard Jerry Clower talk about the Tangipahoa Parish. where that old fellow was from, it liked to fight so much, wouldn't it? Said that old fellow said he'd walk out across that plowed ground, said he is a bare-knuckle fist fight champion of the Tangipahoa Parish. Said a fellow up there at Amite County was a bare-knuckle fist fight champion of Amite County. Said he would talk about who all he whooped. Said they finally told him, said, why don't you go down there to the Tangipahoa Parish and get that old boy? And said, if you whoop him, he said, you'd be the champion of both places. So he went down there after him, said he was going to go down there and whoop that fellow. And said he asked around, said, where's they? Said, yes, sir. Said he lives out there on such and such road. And said he drove up to the house, knocked on the door, and said his mama come to the door and said, yes. Said, does he live here? She said, yes, sir. He said, where can I find him? She said, well, he's out yonder in that field. Said he's planting potatoes. Said he looked around. He said, yes. Said that'd be a good place for me to go whoop him. He's right out there in that plowed dirt. Said he went out there and said, look, said there's a fella had a 50-pound sack of potatoes in one hand. Said he was planting them potatoes. Said he was hooked up to a 6-foot straight tooth section harrow. Said he was dragging it behind him, covering up them potatoes as he planted them, walking down through that field. Said he'd done planted 25 acres of potatoes. Just like that. He said that fellow was 6'5" tall. He said, he looked at him, said that fellow walked up and said, what can I do for you? And he said, are you the bare-knuckle fist fight champion of the Tangipahoa Parish? He said, yes, sir, I am. But he said, what can I do for you? He said, well, I just want to make a declaration right here and now. He said, not only are you the bare-knuckle fist fight champion of Tangipahoa Parish, but you're also the bare-knuckle fist fight champion of all Amite County, too. Oh. That aromatic shoot gun. Yeah, shoot them ducks down there, yeah. They got dressed up like a cow one time and shoot them ducks. That didn't go over real good for them. Yeah, I have pulled some good jokes from old Justin. Well, he tells some pretty good ones every now and then. He's told a few that I couldn't make heads or tails out of, but I'd just be straight honest with you. I'd listen to him and I go, I don't have no idea what he... Tommy said about making a list of folks he could whoop. I can't remember the fellow's name that come out through there. So he said they was all out there in Hollywood. Said they was coming down the aisle and said old fellow said he was about big as a gorilla. Said he'd jump out there. Said he'd say, what's your name? And they'd tell him. He said, I'm so-and-so. Said Porter Wagner come through there and he said, what's your name? He said, Porter Wagner. He said, well, I'm making a list. He said, I'm big, bad, and tough. And I'm making a list of folks I can whoop. And he said, I'm putting your name on my list. Porter Wagner said, that's fine. Put my name on your list. Jerry said he went by and said he jumped out of him and said, hey, I'm the bare-knuckle fist fighting champion. Said, I'm making a list of folks I can whoop and I'm putting your name on my list. He said, that's fine. Said, fella, I ain't interested in fighting you. Said, you put my name on your list. Said there's one of them come out of there, though, said he jumped out at him and said, I'm putting your name on my list of folks I can whoop. And he said, all right. And said he took about 2 steps and said that old red blood started boiling in him and he turned around and he said, well, wait a minute. He said, I ain't so sure you can whoop me. The fellow said, you ain't. He said, well, let me get your name off of my list then. Greg, yeah, old Della. Said down old Della went. We'll tell that one here for long. I hadn't told that one in a while. I ain't heard that one, Stephen Owen. shot the car with a shoot gun first time they seen a Model T. I ain't heard that one. It made the Model T turn that man loose. Nancy Pierce, good night. Well, y'all, it's getting late. Some of these folks need to go to bed. We need to shut this down. Boudreaux and the hang glider. Tommy, I think there's a one channel on there that's got a list of all of his jokes, or either there's a video of all of them. I may have to pull that up and see if it's on there. I do like some Justin Wilson tales.
Ask them what they want to see me cook on my channel.
What do y'all want to see cooked? What y'all want
What y'all
Mama
want me to
fry
cook and
up?
film?
I may try to do a breakfast for long out there on the Blackstone, maybe this week. One thing, it's been too cold in the mornings right here, right now, but it'll be warmed up next week, be raining, be a good time to get out there and cook under there. So we may do a breakfast cooking sometime. I need to get me some more hot links. I like them old hot links.
Buttermilk pie.
I have never had buttermilk pie.
We might try to make buttermilk pie. I'll have to find a recipe.
I'll eat anything one time or two.
But I don't like buttermilk.
You know, I did that cornbread milk video, and I had so many people tell me to drink buttermilk with that cornbread, and I'm going to just tell you I don't like buttermilk. I'll eat biscuits made out of buttermilk, but I ain't drinking buttermilk. I want whole milk in my cornbread. And milk and cornbread is a fine thing to have. Magnolia Mama said it is delicious. Well, I'm looking forward to trying it. Spaghetti pie.
I'll try to make some pottery videos too. Well, we might have to try buttermilk pie.
Doesn't taste like buttermilk. I'll try it. I ain't scared to try it.
Look, Greg, I like pinto beans. This one right here, he don't like pinto beans.
She don't like me to have pinto beans. Let's say the truth.
No, he don't like you know how you make them soup beans, you know, where you put your beans and then you put them over your cornbread and stuff. I'll cook it and he'll say he don't like that kind of stuff.
Because they hurt me.
And he don't like chicken and dumplings. Who ever heard of somebody that didn't like chicken and dumplings?
Everybody talked about squirrel dumplings. I tried squirrel. I hate to ruin a squirrel. Here's my problem with chicken and dumplings. You take the same ingredients and you could have made biscuits and fried chicken and gravy every time. Same ingredients. Now, who in their right mind would opt for dumplings when they could have had biscuits and gravy and fried chicken? Come on now. Praise the Lord, I'm for the fried chicken and the biscuits and gravy every time. Oh, Lord. Well, anyway, here we are. Another time, another night. Buttermilk pecan pie. And I'm going to tell you what, Triple Creek Farm, I put a hurting on a pecan pie around Christmas time they made in here. I eat it. I hid it and eat it. Tommy, I think chickens was born to get fried. Randall Hayes beaver is better than dumplings. In fact, my hand up. Chris Bassett, good night. We are fixing to shut all of this down. You know, all Dave, I've never eaten squirrel brains. I really ain't. My daddy cooked them one time when I was a kid, and I was young and about Brody's age. So anyway, thank y'all tonight, y'all, for joining us, having a good time, sitting around chit-chatting. I know y'all got to go to bed. Some of y'all going to hang on like me to the last. Amen. I appreciate all of you that have tuned in and watched. I couldn't do what I do without y'all. I promise I enjoy what I do. I wear myself out doing it sometimes. I have to slow down, take a break. And, you know, there's times I'd love to make a video every day. Probably here in the future, I'm going to probably slack off for a little bit. to like 2 or 3 videos a week. I'll try to put in some reels, do some short stuff. But y'all, I have got nearly 2 pages of names of knives, and I need to get them done. And it ain't, hey, like this one fella said this week, I'm more interested in making money. It really ain't the money that I'm interested in. It's when somebody orders a knife, I don't want it to take 6 months for them to get the knife they want. I feel like if they ordered a knife, they need a knife. And I want to get them what they ordered and in a timely fashion. It's more about that. And I'm work driven. I like to work. I enjoy getting out there, and I'll get in the zone and start making knives and look around and go, man, I need to make a video today. And what happens then is I wind up trying to throw a video together, and I don't want to do that. So one thing I am going to do, and I'm going to probably not next week because of rain, unless I can get inside the teepee. I've looked and I got the teepee set up with funnels water right under it. But I want to do some fire making videos. We started today, and we're going to get into using fat wood and starters, and I'm going to do basically a series on fire building. And the reason I am doing this, y'all, is because we've got a lot of young kids that are watching. I've got a lot of young kids that are fans of the channel, and I want to teach them some things. I want to share that knowledge for the kids more than I am trying to prove to adults at how good I am at making fire. That ain't what this is about. I ain't interested in trying to impress grown folks. I ain't. But I want to teach kids stuff, and we've got a lot of kids, y'all, that are watching the channel. Some of y'all's kids are watching the channel, and I want to teach them how to make it in the wilderness and in the wild, and really just get out and be able to enjoy camping and having a good time. Be able to build a fire where they ain't struggling when they do it. So that is what this series is more about. And we've got a lot of people that are, let's face it, they've got out of the cities. They're trying to get to a better lifestyle. And it's not our place to look down on them and go, oh, you moved out of the city, you trying to, let's help them. It's smart to get away from them cities, get out where you can start living a better lifestyle. I want to applaud you for making those steps, and I want to help you do it. I don't want to criticize you because you don't know how to do nothing. So that's what the fire building is going to do, and we're going to do some more stuff in that series. And I want to try to do it around the teepee too, so that we get some teepee videos. So Mama's got something.
I found a recipe for buttermilk pie. We'll be making this in the future.
And that's in whose book?
This is in Brenda Gant's cook, her first cookbook.
You got Brenda Gant's name on it, haven't you?
Yeah, she signed it for me.
Right
there.
If
y'all watch Brenda Gant, I got her cookbook and I got it signed and I met her. But we're going to make her pie.
So anyway, all that being said, thank y'all for joining us and tuning in. We're going to try to put together some better videos where I ain't throwing videos together. Let me get some of these knives made. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all watching and supporting us and what we do. Y'all are wonderful people. I promise you all. I have met some of the greatest people. So good night, y'all. Thank you for joining. Brody, come here and help us close this out. Your favorite saying? He's coming a running, y'all. Get up here, boy. Come on. Oh. And tell them, say the best way to do things
It's the way you like to do it.
We'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good one. Mama, go around there and cut the camera off for us. I can't reach the buttons on the camera. I'm reaching. It ain't. Oh, y'all too far away. She can't find them. Look, other side, top corner. It's